Ella Minnow P. by Mark Dunn. A novel in letters. For Mary. Epistolary. Adjective. Of or associated with letters or letter writing. Of, pertaining to or consisting of letters, an epistolary novel. Lipogram. A written work composed of words selected so as to avoid the use of one or more letters of the alphabet. Nollop. A 63 square mile autonomous island nation 21 miles southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, established as a quasi-communal society by dispossessed Southern Americans in the 1840s. The island declared its independence from the United States in 1870. Over the years, the country's leadership has sought to uplift its black and white citizens through almost monastic devotion to liberal arts, education, and scholarship, effectively elevating language to a national art form, while relegating modern technology to the status of avoidable nuisance. Formerly Utopiania, the country's name, was changed in 1904 to honor native son Nevin Nollop, the author of the popular pentagram sentence, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." Pangram. A phrase, sentence, or verse composed of all the letters of the alphabet, a quirky novel with pages of zany, jumbled lexicon. In the beginning was the Word. Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 1. The wicked peon quivered, then gazed balefully at the judges who examined him. Anonymous typesetter. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Nollopton, Sunday, July 3rd. Dear Cousin Tassie, thank you for the lovely postcards. I trust that you and Aunt Mitty had a pleasant trip and that all your stateside friends and paternal relations are healthy and happy. Much has happened during your 1-month sojourn off island. Perhaps your village neighbors have apprised you, or you may have glanced at one of the editions of the Island Tribune that have no doubt accumulated on your doorstep. However, I will make the safest assumption that you have yet to be offered the full account of certain crucial events of the last few days, tucked away as you and your mother are in your quiet and rustic little quarter of our island paradise, and inform you of the most critical facts pertaining to such events. You'll find it all, if nothing else, quite interesting. On Monday, July 17th, a most intriguing thing took place. One of the tiles from the top of the cenotaph at the town center came loose and fell to the ground, shattering into a good many pieces. A young girl here, one Alice Butterworth, discovered the fallen tile at the base of the statue, carefully gathered up the bits and shards, and quickly conveyed them to the offices of the High Island Council. Tiny Alice delivered those fragments into the hands of Most Senior Gordon Willingham, who promptly called an emergency meeting on that lofty body to glean purpose and design from this sudden and unexpected detachation. This aforementioned gleaning, this is important. Many in town were in attendance at this critical meeting. Olive, whom the Laundress Corps elected to attend as our representative observer, given the need for a nearly full contingent of workers at the laundrette on this particular day, returned much later than expected to report the have and say of the lengthy session, specifically with regard to the aforementioned issue in question before the council. I must own that we were quite taken by the council's initial reaction to the incident, most of us regarding it as a mere happenstance. The council, on the other hand, sought with leap-dash urgency to grasp sign and signal from the loss, and having offered themselves several possible explanations, retired with all dispatch to closed-door chambers for purpose of solemn debate and disposition. In so doing, Most Senior Council Member Willingham and his 4 fellow councilors left themselves scant room for the possibility that the tile fell simply because, after 100 years, whatever fix-it had been holding it in place could simply no longer perform its function. This explanation seemed quite the logical one to me, as well as to my fellow laundresses. with the single exception of one Lydia Threadgate, who holds the council in bloated esteem due to a past bestowal of the council beneficence, and who would not be dissuaded by a healthy dose of our dull brass and pauper's punch brand of logic. However, in the end, our assessments and opinions counted for, and continue to count for, precious little. We have kept our public speculation to a minimum for fear of the government reprisal. So charged with distrust and suspicion have the esteemed island elders or elders become following the year's unfortunate visit by that predatory armada of land speculators from the States, harboring designs for turning our lovely island Shangri-La into a dentured resort destination for American cruise ships. With the Council and High Conference, with the succeeding 48 hours, the Washboard Brigade made at least 2 pilgrimages to the town center, there to gaze up at the much-revered cenotaph and its salt wind-eroded statuary likeness of our most venerated Mr. Nevin Nullop, the man for whom this island nation was lovingly named, the man without whom this shifting slab of sand and palmetto would hold paltry placement in the annals of world history. We take significant pride here in town, as you would your fellow villagers no doubt do as well, there in your green-canopied hills to the north of us, pride in the man and his legacy, such legacy immortalized in tiled Bandiford, on the crown of the pedestal upon which his sculptured semblance stands. THEQUICKBROWN FOXJUMPSOVERTHELAZYDOG. Of course now, without the tile bearing the letter Z, the phrase lazy dog has become lay dog. How different the world would be today, if not for the sentence which the lexically gifted Mr. Nullop issued forth. How we cherish his contribution to the English-speaking world, of one short sentence that employs with minimal repetition each of the 26 letters of our alphabet. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. For this Mr. Nullop was deserving of nothing short of Nobel. He received instead, as you must remember from Miss Calliope's island history class, little recognition beyond these familiar shores. Yet remember that here we are made up for the lack of global acclaim by honoring him with this imposing statue. And later the acclaim did come, posthumously, alas, but eventually, and ultimately through the gratitude of the multi-type which retitudes. Pop volunteered to repair the tile and return it to its rightful place. His offer was summarily rejected. Rejected as well was an offer put forth by members of the Masons Guild to restore the entire monument to its former polished sheen and fettle, such restoration to include the careful removal and refastening of each of the 34 remaining century-old tiles. But among these lines the council would entertain no offers or suggestions whatsoever. In the words of Council Mistress LeGrier Houston, there was no doubt purpose to the tumble, this event constituting, in my belief, a terrestrial manifestation of Mr. Nullop's wishes. Mr. Nevin Nullop speaks to us from beyond the grave, my fellow Nullopians. We will listen with open ears, discern his intent, and follow those wishes accordingly. On Wednesday, July 19th, the Council, having gleaned and discerned, released its official verdict. The fall of the tile bearing the letter Z constitutes the terrestrial manifestation of an Empyrean Nullopian desire, that desire most surely being that the letter Z should be utterly excised, fully extirpated, absolutively heave-hoed from our communal vocabulary. Henceforth, use of the arguably superfluous 26th letter will be outlawed from all island speech and graphy. It appears that this is how Mr. Nullop chooses to reward the islanders who drew him and his brilliance to their collective bosom, by issuing this directive, by sitting fully upright upon his bier, as it were, and ordering us to communicate using only the 25 letters that remain. And we, as his grateful servants, serving the memory of his greatness, have been called by High Council to obey, under penalties to be determined by the aforementioned Council. On Friday, July 21st, those penalties were decided. They are as follows: to speak or write any word containing the letter Z, or to be found in possession of any written communication containing this letter one will receive for the first offense a public oral reprimand either by a member of the Island Law Enforcement Brigade, known with trembling affection as the LEB, or by a member of its civilian auxiliary. Second offenders will be offered choice between the corporal pain of body flogging and the public humiliation of headstock upon the public square, or in your case, the village commons. For third offense, violators will be banished from the island. Refusal to leave upon order of the council will result in death. Death, my dear cousin Tassie. I could not believe what I heard, still cannot, yet it is all frighteningly true. Would the itty Alice had taken the crumbles of that terrible tile under cover of darkness to one of our masons and had it reassembled and refastened without anyone being the wiser. And yet truly there are moments, brief moments, in which I entertain the thought that perhaps there may exist some thin thread of likelihood that the council may have correctly read the event. That is ludicrous, as preposterous as it seems, the fallen tile may indeed be the communication of our most honored and revered Mr. Nollop. Nevin Nollop may in fact be telling us exactly what the council singularly believes, for I understand the 5 members to be clearly of one mind in their belief that having absented himself from the lives of his fellow islanders for these 107 years, the great Nollop now rouses himself briefly from his eternal snooze to examine our language and the employment of it, and in so doing rouses us from our own sleepy complacency by taking this only marginally important letter from us. There is that very real, although admittedly microscopic possibility, my dear cousin, for with the exception of the use of the letter in reference to itself and its employment in the word lazy, affixed in permanence to its partner dog, I have, in scanning the text of my epistle to you thus far, discovered only 3 merest of uses, and the word gaze immortalized and snooze. Would you have lost my meaning should I have chosen to make the substitutions looked, postiferide, and sleep? What, my dear Tassie, have we lost? Very little, and please note that a new word would have been gained, posterified in the process. Perhaps I may actually grow to embrace this challenge, as others no doubt are preparing to do themselves. The edict is to take effect the moment of midnight cusp on August 7th/8. On the days remaining we have permitted to zip-zap-zoop to our blessed heart's content. Mum and Pop and I are planning a party this evening to bid farewell to this funny little letter. I wish so much that you and Aunt Minnie could be in attendance. We will welcome in a new era. What it holds for us I do not know, but I shall give this thing the benefit of cautious initial fealty. I leave open the slim possibility that Nollop does indeed wish it so. With love, Cousin Ella. Nollopville, Monday, July 24. Dear Cousin Ella. New era? Posh and pooh. This latest development hasn't inaugurated a new era. It has only shoved us far deeper into the dungeon of island medievalism. We shall be wearing burlap and flour sack tomorrow and recuperating by candlelight because even light bulbs seem doomed now to join the official list of technological non-essentials. And now this regulation, I am beside myself. Your letter, I must confess, left me initially speechless for having you just returned home. Neither I nor Mother was aware that any such thing had taken place. Now, hours later, I gather my thoughts together, my nerves still raw and jangled, the pen still unsteady in my trembling hand. Such an act as that presently being perpetrated on the people of this good island by our esteemed High Island Council is beyond diabolical. Cautious initial fealty? Have you not even considered all the consequences of losing this funny little letter? My friend, Rachel, who inherited our small village library with the passing of Miss Redfern, reminds me that with the prohibition, the reading of all books containing the unfortunate letter will have to be outlawed as well. There are, I would surmise, few if any volumes upon those biblioshelves that do not contain it. The council, in its ridiculous wisdom, will be assigning to dustbins and community pyres centuries of the finest examples of sapience and sagacity, volume upon volume of history, literature, and thought promulgated through the medium of this cherished language of kings and knaves, scholars and clowns, to be replaced, dear coz, by the anemic and uninquiring ramblings of this flocks of humans become ground-pecking Cyrilliges, looking skyward only for evidence of approaching rain, then to seek cover, pecking and honking along the way when not following blindly The answer herds wooden staff, not without complaint, but certainly without measurable rebellious spirit. On second thought, my analogy seems hardly appropriate, for in a way made most significant by our circumstances, we aren't like the Cirilla geese at all, for unlike our feathered neighbors who protest the tiniest importunities against their dignity, we'll keep our beaks clamped tightly shut, not emitting even so much as a peep of dissatisfaction. I'm so fearful, Ella, as to where this all may lead. A silly little letter, to be sure, but I believe its theft represents something quite large and oh so frighteningly ominous. For it stands to rob us of the freedom to communicate without any manner of fetter or harness. We are a well-educated, well-versed, and well-spoken people, whom Mr. Nollop has taught to elevate language to a certain preeminence, unmatched by our vocabulazy American neighbors across the Sound. We are a nation of letter-writers who, in the absence of reliable telephone service or existence of electronic mail, have cultivated our hardship far beyond all expectation. Do you honestly believe that this same Mr. Nollop would allow his fellow islanders to see their language so diminished, or permit diminution of the islanders themselves by extension? I cannot even conceive of it. The counsel is wrong. Yet observe that none of us will risk telling it so for fear of the consequences. Installed for life with complex legal procedures for official recall, copies of which will soon be disappearing from the shelves of our island libraries, if they haven't already, this counsel is set up for a most difficult period, without any avenue for redress. I pray that you and I both have the strength and fortitude to weather this most devastating of island storms. If not, God help us all. With love, your cousin Tassie. P.S. Neither I nor Mother will be able to attend your party on the 7th. Nollop Impasse is marred again from last week's heavy rains, and the littoral loop has yet to be reopened following the early summer inundata. I would avoid the littoral loop in any event as it is, while scenic the longest distance between 2 points known to men, and please understand my unwillingness to trespass upon the Pony Express path. The sprinting Pony Brother couriers are mercury swift these days, and I would prefer that my obituary not read, "She was ingloriously run over by a fleet-footed 14-year-old. If I am to have any choice in the matter, I would choose a less pedestrian death, thank you very much." P.P.S. You will notice that the exception of the use of the letter Z in the answerer's term vocabulazy, the affectionately familiar cuz, the mischievously manufactured beside, the letter is employed nowhere else in this missive. My point stands on principle. To choose to use the letter if I so wish it, or to choose not to, such is my right, a right now to be eradicated by the stroke of High Council pen. And with that, I close. Upon the Minnow P. kitchen table, Nollopton, Sunday, August 6th. Dear daughter Ella, I am going to the hobby shop to pick up more ceramic mix for my miniatures. I should be home in an hour or two. I have decided to narrow my latest venture from the fashioning of dissimilar vessels, the familiar tiny urns, pitchers, amphoras, which have sold so well at our recent town craft bazaars, to exclusive molding of diminutive moonshine jugs. You might remember my telling you and your mother that Mr. McHenry of Charlotte, North Carolina, has promised to buy all the jugs I make for this American Dollhouse Supply Company. And with the decline in available carpentry work around the island, you know how much we can use this money. You may remind your mother, should she return before I do, that while I am out, I will pick up mixed nuts and assorted beverages for tomorrow night's party. I will also bring something good for us to eat for dinner this evening. It will not be fish. I have apparently grown just as tired of the piscivorous diet as you and she. Praise God to the abundance of loaves and fishes during these belt-tightening times. Just leave us the loaves and take away all them fishes. With love from your father, Amos. Nollopton, Monday, August 7th. Dear Cousin Tassie, I write this letter literally minutes from the cusp of midnight. I trust that having read it, you will put quick flame to it, for it will have been received after the onset of this peculiar prohibition, and I do not wish to place you or your mother in any jeopardy whatsoever, for I understand there will be no moratorium, and no lenience shown any offender over the age of 7. Why the cutoff here, I do not know, yet any child 8 and older who speaks or writes a word containing the letter Z, it is my understanding from the proclamation, will receive the same penalty as would an adult. Children 7 and younger, however, may biz and baz to their heart's content, all to be a child again. I wish that you could be here. It has been an odd gathering, a warm confluence of kindred souls, yet in terms of pervasive atmosphere, conversely, even perversely funeral. I would like to have had my dear cousin at my side as we approach the fateful stroke and chime. Reluctantly do we bid farewell to Mistress C, embracing her warmly, heartily, as if determined never to let her leave our side. In spirit most festive, do we attempt with all our intellectual muscle to name as many words as we are able to from the pool of those we will soon be forbidden to use. Such a very long list we have produced, a list which will soon and sadly be curling back in the pop-crafted salad ceramic and listed for its incineration. My Uncle Zachary will henceforth go by his middle name, Isaac. His jocular carpenter mates, Buzz and Zeke, ask that they now be called respectively Little Tristan and Prince Valiant the Comely. Zeke is actually applying for a legal name change. No longer may we speak of the topaz sea which laps our breeze-kissed shores, nor ever again describe azure-tinted horizons sheared by violent blazes of our brilliant island sunrises. Hundreds of words await ostracism from our functional vocabularies. Waltz and fizz and squeeze and booze and frozen pizza pie. Fizzy and fuzzy and dizzy and duzzy, the visualization of emphysema zapped Tarzans. Wheezing and sneezing, holding glazed and anodized bazookas, seized by all the bizarrities of this zany zone we call home. Dazed or zombified citizens who recognize hazardous organizations of zealots in their hazy midst. Too late. Too late to size down. Immobilized we is, minimalized, paralyzed, zip zap zzz. Crazy. Crazy. Did I say crazy? The books have all disappeared. You are right about the books. We will have to write new ones now. What will we say? Without the whiz that was. For we cannot even write of its history, because to write of it is to write it. And as of midnight, it becomes ineffable. As of 5 seconds from now. As of now. The clock chimes 12. Goodbye! I have such a ghastly headache. I believe I'll go lie down now. Love, your cousin Ella. The quick brown fox jumps over the lay dog. Knowlettville, Tuesday, August 8th. Dear Ella, I received your letter. I read it and destroyed it. I am sorry I couldn't be with you as your family's parties go. I am sure it was a memorable one, although the hovering Paul must have sent Hulks home and a little earlier than usual. They shut the library down today. By day's end, workmen had totally boarded up. I spent much of the afternoon helping Rochelle box up items to transfer to the supply cabinets of Mother's school. Her second graders wore such heart-tugging looks of confusion when the principal confiscated all of the textbooks. Mother spent much of the school day in halt and stammer lest she speak the prescribed letter and find herself brought up on charges. It makes teaching so difficult, she tells me, having to spell out each word in her head before speaking it, to prevent accidental usage while attempting to deliver a lesson without the benefit of any textbook whatsoever. Mother is having only a slightly better time of it than Miss Mosley, who, having fallen victim to the chronic aposiopiasis in the morning, spent the bulk of the afternoon seated in silent defeat behind her desk, while her restless third graders improvised games of catch with a variety of show-and-tell items. Mother said her own pupils wanted desperately to talk about what had just occurred. Many are forbidden by their parents to discuss the matter at home, so great is the fear of where such discussion may lead. She said that she took the coward's way out and would not permit discussion in her classroom either. It is gone, she tells the children. They must not think more of it. We must all learn to accept its departure. And yet, deep inside, she tells me, I am angry and rebellious. In my head, she tells me, I am reciting what I recall of my niece's last letter, allowing the illegal words to baste and crisp. I cook the words, serve them up, devour them greedily. In the sanctuary of my thoughts, I am a fearless renegade, yet in the company of the children, I cringe and cower in a most depreciating way. Mother looks at me with a face betraying all the pain she feels inside, and concludes with a whisper, I have only shame for myself, Tassie. because of what this has turned me into, here even in this early hour of the most senseless prohibition. Perhaps in time, Ella, the words we have lost will fade, and we will all stop summoning them by habit, only to stamp them out like unwanted toadstools when they appear. Perhaps they will eventually disappear altogether when the accompanying halts and stammers as well, those troublesome, maddening pauses that at present invade and punctuate through Caesara all manner of discourse. Trying so desperately we all are to be ever so careful. It really stinks. Even on this second day, violations are mounting. Here in this tiny village, Ella, 17 of my neighbors have already been charged with first offense. 2, in sad fact, have reached the grave level of second offense. Mr. Gregory just lives down the lane. The milk cows he has hardly a sufficient number to earn the title of dairy farmer, yet he treasures the appellation. And what milk he produces is sweet and creamy. Dairy farmer and beekeeper, owner of the largest apiary, if I am not mistaken, on the island. It is the bees that have gotten poor Mr. Gregory into trouble. For how does one describe such creatures without the use of a certain outlawed letter, as a matter of course? Twice the good man has slipped out. As I write this, he sits in headstock on the village commons. No one jeers, by the way. We come only to offer condolences, and to bring him drink sweet milk from one of his own Guernseys. The day is hot. There is no shade where he is shackled. I understand his hives will soon be destroyed, his livelihood ripped from him. For the bees speak the offending letter as their wont. They sing it to the hills, our ears ringing with its sizzle resonance. Such a perturbant distraction it is to a community attempting to follow edict with obeisance. The other individual charged with second offense is Master William Creevy, about our age, whom Mother taught a few years previous, a riotous, rule-flouting young man for as long as I have known him. This fact, however, never prevented me from exercising a certain youthful fondness for him. His countenance, dear Ellikins, no strain upon the young female eyes. Willie, as it happens, does not believe in obeying laws written by madmen. And while many of us applaud his independent spirit, he is nonetheless one slip word away from his banishment. I wonder what that word will be. Whatever he chooses, if choice it be, you will not see it scribbled by me within some future missive to my dear cousin, for while I share Master Creevy's contempt for the island authorities, I do not at present own his dangerous desire for insurrection, a point made during a visit to the village yesterday by Council Member Harton Mangrove for purpose of conform and clarification. We may not, as an alternative, use illegal words with asterisks conveniently replacing the letter of the alphabet in question. Use of such an asterisk will carry the same penalty as would use of the prohibited letter itself, for one is blatant stand-in for the other, with meaning wholly transparent. Which is why you find no asterisks in this letter to you. Pray for Dill Willie Creevy. He is a mischievous, troublesome lad, but undeserving of expulsion for all this mischief and trouble. Did I mention he chose flogging? A brave boy he is, but I rather suspect he's sacrificing the skin of his youthful back for naught. For the present it is easier for us to turn away. Our repulsion, you see, will not spur us to revolt until this plague moves much closer to home. I love you, dearest cousin, and do so miss you. Never stop writing. Love, Tassie. Knowlton, Friday, August 11th. Dear Tassie, today the Tribune published the names of 58 of the 60 men, women, and children charged this week with first offense. 2 names were unpublishable due to the presence of a particular letter within. All were speakers of banned words, words overheard upon the lanes, in schoolyards, and church pews, and on common greens, neighbor turning in neighbor, perpetuating old grudges and grievances with this new weapon unleashed upon us by the High Island Council. The paper reported 13 additional names of those charged with second offense. Unlike your brave Master Creepy, all have chosen headstock in lieu of the lash. Thankfully, no one has yet to receive the dreaded charge of third and final offense. At least one of 13 has taken the precautionary measure of taping his mouth securely shut. Another among their number, the very publisher and editor of the Island Tribune, Asquith Cleeman, is contemplating a suspension of the publication of his newspaper rather than risk a final charge. For the time being, he has asked that all staff members take down a certain key on their typewriters to avoid its accidental usage. The Kleeman family, as you may know, has resided on this island for multiple generations. They were, in fact, one of the first families to settle here. Banishment for them would be both an unfortunate and landish tragedy. Just as unfortunate, though, would be the loss of our daily rag, a solitary news source now that radio news broadcasts have been suspended. Yesterday, Mom and Pop took a long dust-side stroll along Nevin Beach. I followed not too far behind. Each of us hoped to find the peace and tranquility that usually rewards us on such quiet, contemplative walks. Yet it was not to be. The sun-kissed paradise was cherished all our lives has been marred by this most wretched turn of events. During such walks, my parents exercise far less care in how they speak to one another than they do in conversation with others. Perhaps they should be more cautious lest possible eavesdroppers hiding in the dune grasses report them. But for the time being, they take their chances, and while they converse in soft lovers' tones, I recite my favorite poetry with little attention to use of the forbidden letter. In the disquieting quiet, we wonder and worry, yet try to carry on some semblance of normal life. You are right about the fallout from this most absurd law. Not only does it cripple communication between islanders, it builds rock walls between hearts. As Mom holds tightly to Pop, I watch them trying to feel what once came so soft and easy. Yet the growing fear coils about us in such a way that affectation becomes like bud never bloom. The sweet scent is there, the innate desire to blossom, but the cold wind locks the bud in place. All because of this tiny cursed letter. I have yet to fully understand its awesome power, but I am fast learning. Your loving cousin Ella. Upon the Minnow Pea kitchen table, Nolliton, Tuesday, August 15th. Dear good wife Gwinnett, you are in the tub. It isn't my wish to disturb you. I am going to the town center. Prince Valiant the Comely says Taylor, the construction company, is a few carpenters short this week due to the grip. I want to check with Taylor to see if he might need me tomorrow. I stood outside the door to the bathroom, inhaling deeply the intoxicating scent of your bath beads. I would have barged right in, as I used to in the old days, but you seemed all too content to enjoy your privy time. I identified all three of the tunes you were humming. They took me back a few years. I love you. I'll be home later in the afternoon. Please tell Ella that the cocktail tomatoes in the back garden require immediate harvesting. The crows are already having themselves a fine tomato salad. Amos. Upon the Minnow Pea kitchen table, Nolliton, Tuesday, August 15th. Dear good husband Amos, I write this on the chance that I may still be gone when you return. I will be at the market buying Cornish game hens for dinner tonight. I know how much you and Ella like them. You think you are so smart. Now just whom do you think you're fooling? In all the years we've been married, you have not forgotten a single anniversary, and I do not think you intend to start with this one. I am thus quite aware, sir, that you are not in any form, shape, or manner having a work-related conversation with Anselm Taylor, who knows to call on you if he needs you, but are instead, even as I write this, selecting for me some appropriately commemorative gift which you have absolutely no business buying given the precariousness of our present financial situation. You are too much, Amos Minnow P. With love, your wife of 23 years to the day, Gwinnett Minnow P. P.S. Perhaps if I chose to take another bath later this evening, while our dear daughter is working her evening shift at the laundrette, you might reconsider your earlier decision about barging right in. Teehee. Knowletville, Thursday, August 17. Ellikins. Young Master Creevy was sent away today. When the flogging had ended, he allegedly, I was not there, raised his head and let spew forth a long and repetitive, illicit letter-prepared tirade against the LEB officers who had administered his punishment. He was not even granted time to pack a suitcase. I will hear more of his story when his mother addresses a meeting of the Parents and Teachers Association at the village school tomorrow night. Within an hour of this act of civil disobedience, Master Creevy was tossed upon an outbound commercial trawler with the summary warning that to return to Knowlet would mean immediate execution. Dear Ella, what have those fools on the council wrought? The meeting tomorrow will allow us to vent our anger and frustration. I truly look forward to it. Your cousin Tassie. Knowleton, Friday, August 18th. Dear Tassie, I am eager to know how the meeting went. I wish we would speak on the phone. The phone services of town and village were reinstated. The council continues to refer to the outage as temporary hurricane-related disruption, the hurricane in question having occurred 13 months ago. I don't believe them. I think it represents instead the persistent degeneration of all means by which this island may someday enter the 20th century, let alone the 21st. Until I can procure cups and a massive coil of string, these letters that pass between us will compromise our sole means of communication, and we should try to make the best of them. Please write as soon and as often as you are able. I have some news. It is too early to know what to make of it, or how the council will proceed. But the possibility does exist that scales may soon fall from the eyes of the esteemed HIC, and they might see their way to rescinding this horrible law. I base this belief, dear cousin, on something that has just occurred. Another tile is dropped from the cenotaph, the tile upon which was etched the letter Q for the word quick. A shopkeeper witnessed the event, made the report. The council went into emergency closed-door session. They may re-emerge in minutes, or it could be several hours. They have requested a large platter of crullers and Danish. Love, Ella. Knowletville, Saturday, August 19. Dear Ella, we had heard about the second fallen tile. We hope and pray that the council will come to its senses on the matter. Last night Mother and I attended a very emotional meeting of our village's Parents and Teachers Association. Through bitter tears, Babette Creevy related the details of the banishment of her son. Initially the boy refused to go, while his father pleaded to the LEB Thugglies to ignore young William's boldly insolent hurlatory. To Willie's mother fell the difficult task of propelling her son with every ounce of maternal passion onto the boat that would serve both as his transport to permanent exile and paradoxically to the very instrument of survival. Those who witnessed the incident agreed with Babette's account of parental paralysis in the face of naked martial tyranny. A rage burns deep within me, dear Ella, the likes of which I have never felt before, yet collaterally a terrible fear has taken hold, robbing me of any thought of recourse. While I want to believe that the self-destruction of the second tile will bring the exalted quintet to its collective senses, the very real possibility exists that they could, these self-proclaimed high and almighties, find in its demise true validation for their earlier decree and convenient justification for its subsequentia. And we sit powerless to convince them otherwise. Please write me as soon as you know something. Mother and I feel so isolated here in the village. While we still receive the weak signal of the limited island radio broadcast, music is almost all that is sent up to us these days. Music without words. The station management, I assume, does not wish to examine song lyrics for words containing the outlawed letter, besides making all of us fearful. This edict has turned some of us into shameful indolence, and if I hear Tijuana Taxi one more time, I am going to scream. Your cousin Taxi. P.S. Thanks bunches for the birthday card. And thank you for adhering to my wishes and not sending a present. One small mischievous joy during these otherwise joyless times is finding myself a year older than you for 5 whole months, although 19 feels a little different from 18 if you want the truth of it. Not in August 21st, Monday. Dear Tassie, no doubt the latest edict has reached the village by post or has been tacked to the proclamata board on your village commons. At the cusp of midnight on August 27th, 28th, as you surely know by now, the letter Q will be stricken from our vocabulary as utterly and thoroughly as it was hapless predecessor. I am incapable of any reaction beyond that which I have previously registered with you. Life, no doubt, will change little from what we know now. As luck would have it, there are simply not all that many words in the English language which claim this letter among its constituents. I am in agreement with you that as our anger against the council grows, it has yet to exceed in potency the abject fear which invades all aspects of our readjusted lives. There have been whispers of a council recall, yet few, if any, among us know how to effect such a thing. Legal recall was, even prior to the incineration of relevant statutes, a complicated process, and now in the absence of written guidelines remains a virtual impossibility. Others have whispered of a military coup, yet the island LEB is handsomely paid and well provided for. I can see little to entice these officers to overthrow a government that is for the most part been both friend and ample provider, let alone an exemplar of political stability for the most of its 130-year history on the hemisphere. We have at present no recourse but to mind our P's and bury our Q's and try our best to eke out some crumbs of normalcy from our turvied lives. Without, I am sad to report, an island newspaper, the editor and publisher of the Tribune, Mr. Kleeman, has, in one grand and glorious protest, put out his final issue, and ignoring his family's rich island heritage, voluntarily departed this cursed sandbar. But not before publishing and leafleting this town with hundreds of copies of the most special swan song edition carrying the apt title, The Bee's Lament, being a delightful 4-page conversation between two bees, marooned upon a keeperless farm. The paper, I wish I could have sent you a copy, but destroyed it quickly after Mom and Papa shared a tearful laugh, contains below the masthead and the aforementioned title, the frenetic repetition of a certain letter, 4,000, perhaps 5,000 glorious times. I do respect Mr. Cleveland for his protest, yet I am disappointed by the cowardly exit. He has left this town with a yawning communicational chasm, a great lacuna which I see no one stepping in forward to fill. I wish you could come for a visit. We have room for you here at the house should you desire to stay for a while, to seek employment, or perhaps find volunteer work at our library. Happily, its stores are still open. Most of the books are gone, though, the periodicals as well, but many of the musical albums remain without their jackets or labels, and the picture books that still reside here are quite colorful, and not at all the unpleasant to look at. Give my love to your mother. Perhaps I will see you soon. Your cousin Ella. Nolletville, Tuesday, August 22. Dear Ella, I just may take you up on that invitation. You know how I feel living up here so removed from things. I look forward to visiting with Aunt Gwinnett and Uncle Amos as well. I cannot wait to see your father's burgeoning collection of petite vases and jugs. Did I mention I have become a volunteer teaching assistant, and I'm helping Mother at the school? I miss the library, though, and the opportunity to read whatever I wish, whatever I so desire. I compensate for this loss by reading your letters over and over again, and Mother and I have taken to writing one another, if you can believe it, from one room to the next. She tells wonderful stories of our mother's childhoods and all their little adventures, beachcombing for shells and driftwood, chasing sand crabs about, how the cruel two of them were as children, and building majestic sand palaces at low tide. I know it was necessary when I was a toddler and Father had gone away for Mother to move us to the village to take teaching job. But I have never warmed to this dismal and dreary place, and I will be happy to not tell Mother, to leave it and never return. Ellikins, I must tell you, I have taken to sitting in a favorite spot on a little secret hillside outside the village to think and dream, and watch the shapings of the clouds and feel the caress of our soft, late summer wind wisps. Some evenings I do not return home until long after dark. Yesterday I was even naughtier than usual. I carved the dreaded letter in the bark of a lonely mimosa, carved it with a kitchen knife in great broad slashes of impertinence, and had myself a delicious clandestine laugh, and I must say it did me a world of good. Perhaps I will take a page from your book and recite poetry. I think sometimes of departing the island for good, but I'm not so sure I could leave Mother, who seems to need me so much more. Now, I had such lovely visits with Father's family in Savannah and Charleston. While I felt somewhat the foreigner, my cousins say that I speak in a funny, overly formal way, whatever this means. I think sometimes how lovely it would be to live across the channel, like my paternal cousins, with telephones that actually work, and television and computers and books, and all the books one could ever hope to read. But I wonder as well how much of my present disagreeableness and languor, even prior to this lexical crisis, is due to the simple fact that I have no one with whom to share my life, no companion, romantic affiliation, or otherwise, save my mother. I am, I will admit, a tragic village lonely at heart, the advanced age of 19. Cousin Ella, I must relate something that has happened with Mother has made me vow not to divulge, Yet I cannot honor her wishes on the matter, for I can no longer bear my concerns for her alone. Please share the following with your mother, but do share it in careful confidence. Perhaps Aunt Gwinnett may advise me to how I might be sufficient succor to her. You see, Mother has spoken the letter. She has spoken the letter in the presence of her class, there before her young pupils, and it did not go without report. One student, I am sorry to relate, took it upon himself to inform his parents, and they in turn took it upon themselves to inform a representative of the Villagers' Volunteer Auxiliary of the LEP. Yesterday morning, Mother was brought before the faulty assembly and publicly issued citation and harsh reprimand. Before every teacher in the school was she called forth and cited with first offense, then mortifyingly reminded by the captain of the auxiliary of penalty for second offense. Mother was humiliated before colleagues, whose respect she had earned and maintained for many years, word, no doubt, trickling down to her young charges, whose respect as well as critical to the performance of her duties as their instructor. She spoke hardly a word to me last night, retired early. She is equally subdued this morning. I wish there were something I could do to help her, but the incident has brought her so low that I know of absolutely nothing that might elevate her spirits. I want to come to town to stay with you and Aunt Gwinnett and Uncle Amos, but now I must wait until Mother's emotional state is improved. I believe that I will write a letter to the boys' parents to find out exactly what purpose is served in reporting Mother, given the enormous difficulty island teachers face in their efforts to avoid just such a slip as the one my mother experienced. A different law should be passed for teachers, if you ask me. There should be a special waiver for accommodation extended not only to 7-year-olds, but also to those who are asked to instruct them. I will write again soon. Please do not mention in your next letter to Mother what I have just told you. She will discuss it with you, I am certain, when she is ready, but the shame of it has sufficiently ebbed. Love, your cousin Tessie. P.S. I did not tell you how the slip occurred. She was teaching arithmetic and made mention of a sum of eggs, 12 eggs to be exact, and described it in using a word no longer at our disposal. A right and proper word in times gone by. How does, in any fair logical way, the council expect us, all of us, not to make such a simple and innocent slip every now and then? Knowlton, Wednesday, August 23rd. Dear niece, I am so sorry to hear from Ella of my sister's recent misfortune. The odds were that it would happen sooner or later. She must try doubly hard to be careful in what she says to those students of hers. Little rabbits have big ears, especially in light of the fact that as of Monday we will be pressed to avoid yet another clutch of our outlawed words. Your mother and my beloved sister, I must say, will not look at all becoming in wooden headstock. As for now to assist her in her present state of despondency, I can offer no advice but that you continue to be kind and understanding daughter, I know you are, and give her the time she needs to find her way back to her former sunny disposition. I know that sometimes it takes your dear mother a while to recover from episodes of abashment, especially one so public, but I assure you, however, recover she will. She is intrinsically resilient. We all are. We have no party planned for Sunday night. We will let the midnight chime usher in this new micro-era in our island history. With neither comment nor incident, Amos and I will no doubt be fast asleep when the fateful hour arrives. I'm not sure of Ella's plans for that evening. Before retiring, though, I shall return to my dear husband and say, today we queried, questioned, and inquired. Promise me that come tomorrow we will not stop asking why. And Amos, being Amos, will chuckle and perhaps respond, we'll never stop asking, dear. Now to sleep. Quiet, dear. Quiet, quiet. To sleep. Your aunt loves you, Gwinnett. Ella here. I plan to be asleep as well. I am working longer hours at the laundrette now. All these immigrating islanders are so insistent upon packing only the most spanking clean clothes into their trunks and suitcases. I do not blame them, but it is exhausting work. The wick brown fox jumps over the lay dog. Knowlettville, Monday, August 28th. Dear Mr. and Miss Togate, I am Tassie Percy, daughter of Miss Mitty Percy, your son Timmy's teacher. I am writing to ask why you felt it necessary to report my mother's slip of the tongue to the island authorities. Mistakes will be made by all of us during these trying times, and it is my belief that latitude should be extended to those like my mother, who are employed in professions in which one is called upon to speak for long wearying periods and through a wide swath of subject areas. I believe there was an element of cruelty in what you did, the source of which I now seek your assistance in dousing. My mother has done nothing to harm any member of your family, has been especially attentive and helpful to your son Timmy, who is a restless student and a slow learner. This whole incident has distressed her greatly. Please explain why it was necessary. Sincerely, Tassie Percy. Nolletville, Tuesday, August 29. Dear Miss Percy, we are sorry that the performance of our civic duty has resulted in distress to your mother. We assure you that it was not our intent to single her out for any specific harm, nor was the report made in any retaliation for any wrong which we feel was done to our son Timmy, or to any other member of our village clan by your mother. We believe, Miss Percy, as you obviously do not, that there is a full cause and merit to the statutes recently passed by the island council. We believe further that Nollop does indeed speak to us from his place of eternal rest, though the manipulation of the tiles upon his hallowed cenotaph, and that this council served only as his collective interpreter. If I understand correctly, it is your belief that the 2 restrictions recently imposed upon the residents of this island have been fashioned for some purpose to which Nollop is not even party. A fairly blasphemous position you hold, if I may be so bold. If such were the case, could not the council exempt itself from such restrictions? And yet I know, as you must, that our council members ask nothing of us that they are not willing to ask of themselves. My wife Georgiana and I are happy to see the members of the island council continue to serve as sole diviners of the will of Nollop. For who should know better than the most sage among us? Perhaps you and your mother fancy yourselves standing upon some high plane. Know this. Such a self-delusional position can only serve to isolate you from the rest of this community at a time when we ought to be meeting our challenges in full union and concert. Why do we follow without misgiving the will of Nollop? Simply because without him this island would be a shallow shell, an empty conch compared to what it is in fact become, a beautiful sandy-shored haven of enchantment and delicioumeral, and without whom the world would never have been given the foxy dog sentence we have all grown to cherish, but which naturally, until instructed otherwise, we must no longer speak or write in its entirety. Your mother should say to be more careful in the future. Sincerely, Nash Toegate. Dear Tassie Percy, I must insert this note with my husband's letter, and state first that I am in full accord with the sentiments contained therein. I sincerely believe, as do several who have joined me for bi-weekly talk group sessions, that Nollop, as one who great emphasis upon the word, is now attempting to pry us away from our traditional dependence on linguistic orthodoxy. Through this challenge, he hopes to move us away from lexical discourse as we now know it, and toward the day in which we can relate to one another in sweet perplicity, through the tacituries of the heart, brilliant in life, now brilliant each hurdle as conveyances from beyond, with all cordiality, Georgiana Toegate. P.S. If you and your mother wish to join our talk groups, you would be most welcome. We gather in my front parlor each Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7:30 p.p.s. as an additional demonstration that there is absolutely no ill will being extended to your mother by anyone within the Toegate household. Please accept as well my invitation to both of you to join me and other villagers artistically inclined for our bi-monthly Monday night tempura beats. Until last week, these were weekly gatherings, but too many among our membership wished to be released to attend newly established village women's humming chorus. Nolletville, Wednesday, August 30. Dear Sister Gwinnett, robbed of 2 letters, I now choose to overuse the 24 which remain. I hope you and Amos are well. I haven't been feeling myself lately. Tassie worries about me. She shouldn't. I will bounce back as I always do. Love, your sister Mitty. Savannah, Georgia, USA, Friday, September 1st. Dear Miss Percy, my name is Nathaniel Warren. I am a master candidate in history and sociology at the University of Georgia. I am also a publisher and editor of a new academic journal, Nolopiana, with the publication of its first issue slated for later this fall. As you might guess, my journal is exclusively devoted to your island, its people, and its unusual history. Last week I was contacted by someone you know, a young man by the name of William Creevy. Mr. Creevy had heard of my publication and wondered if I might be able to write about his recent expulsion. He is presently without income and says he could benefit from any compensation I might offer. I agreed, but soon came to see that another more broadly encompassing article begs to be written. Through my lifelong interest in Nollop, I have gained a level of familiarity with your country that has until now been matched by only a handful of Americans and Nolopian expatriates. That interest has fueled a desire to learn as much as I can about your island, and to share what I learn with others. In light of recent events, this mission has become much easier. Lately, Americans have started to take much closer notice of their tiny neighbor to the southeast. In fact, I estimate that if these strange edicts erupting from your High Council continue, the whole world may soon be demonstrating a rubbernecking interest in your plight. I have already made a number of advanced subscription sales to residents of the coastal tidelands, whose number now includes a growing community of Lolopian immigrants. Now to my reason for writing. I would like to come to Nullup for a lengthy visit, for purposes of investigating this odd, unprecedented political and social crisis in which you now find yourself embroiled. Since my interest in Nullup has been hidden to some degree by a veil of academia, my name and face may not be known to the Council, so my application for short-term visa may stand a chance for approval. I know that the Council has, since Statute 2437, refused entry to all American journalists and scholars. All the news of the latest goings-on has come from those who have involuntarily or in increasingly number of cases involuntarily left the island. As an added precaution, I will assume with your permission the role of old friend of the family. Mr. Creevy reports that you and your daughter have remained in council favor, and so I'm hopeful that such a visit won't raise governmental objections. I know that I am asking much from you. I am, after all, a total stranger to the two of you, and yet from Mr. Creevy's description of you both, I do feel that I know you somewhat. I understand that some of Creevy's happiest childhood moments were spent in your company, with you as a second-grade teacher, and your daughter, Natasha, as middle school English tutor. I will certainly understand if you have reservations, and if those reservations prevent you from allowing me to stay. If this turns out to be the case, I trust that you will divulge to no one the fact that I approached you in this regard. But if you feel as many of our fellow islanders do, that the actions of the Council may be brought to the light of the public scrutiny, with my earnest little journal serving as appropriate vehicle, perhaps your convictions might outweigh any misgivings you may have about the reason for and the manner of my visit. I look forward to your response. Sincerely, Nate Warren. Nulletville, Monday, September 4, American Labor Day. Dear Mr. Warren, I have discussed your petition with my daughter Tassie. She has allayed my minor concerns, so I am able to hereby welcome you to our home as good friend of the family. I look forward to hearing if your application for visa will be approved. Please let us know if there is anything we can do to help. Best wishes, Mitty Percy. Nulletville, Monday, September 4th. Dear Cousin Ella, Mother is better. Buoyed somewhat by the strangest letter we received last week from a gentleman named Nate Warren, who publishes a journal about Nullup. He wants to write an article for American readership on the Council's actions of late, and for his purpose he has asked if he might come to stay with Mother and me. Mother immediately wrote him back to say yes, and by all means. I have never known her to act so hastily in any regard. I must say that I am rather looking forward to the young man's visit. With love, your cousin Tassie. Nullupton, Wednesday, September 6th. Dear Tassie, I am excited to learn of you soon-to-be house guest. Anything to boost Aunt Mitty's floundering spirits and yours as well. Perhaps by now you have learned of the tragic public flogging of the Rasmussen family. All 6 members whipped like misbehaving canines on the public green as was their choice following the soon-to-be infamous Daffy and Donald affair. Their offense? Each member in deliberate provocation of the Island Council had marched single file into last Tuesday's open session, wearing cartoon masks and making loud duck sounds which any sentient Nullopian knows by now are forbidden, while holding aloft large cardboard containers of a certain recently outlawed brand of American oatmeal. As the Rasmussens were being manacled by members of the LEB Council, member Willingham asked for a reason behind such a flagrant flouting of the clear and unambiguous law against use of the 17th letter, a flouting made all the more pernicious by the enthusiastic abandon with which it was embraced. The head of the Rasmussen household, Charles Rasmussen Sr., a clothing merchant here in town, bought a lovely powder blue lace from a store just last month, responded, "It was actually my children's idea. They are very fond of this letter and felt a protest against its removal from the island discourse was very much in order. My wife and I agree. We also wish to be flogged in the presence of as many town residents as choose to be in attendance, and if this produces no outcry, especially in the layering a leather tassel upon the youthful backs of my 9-year-old twin daughters, Becca and Henrietta, then please trundle us without delay from this island of cringe and cowardice, for we no longer wish to belong to such despicable confederacy of spinal defectives." And so Mom and Pop and I stood and watched the harrowing and loathsome sight of children being ritually beaten and the commensurately disturbing picture of frightened onlookers, the town ba-bas as Pop and taken to calling our dear neighbors, doing what they do oh so well. That is absolutely nothing. lifting not even the proverbial finger to remove these how consul bastinado benefacted buffoons from their pinnacle of abusive power, nor doing anything otherwise to stop or decelerate their efforts. Watch these nullipimpotents, Mom and Pop I did, as they stood in wilful immotility, as we absorbed in full the lamentable scene being played out before us. We found ourselves entertaining identical thoughts, concretious thoughts of retaliation and the ultimate reclamation of a society so disturbingly transmogrified. A first meeting to be held in our home a week from tomorrow under the guise of Pop's twice-monthly poker game to plot and plan our insurrection, our nascent underground movement to restore a full 26-letter alphabet to the people, deserving or not of this our presently polluted island home, even as this morning in the early pre-dawn darkness of one Craigtoon O'Luley was discovered attempting to replace a tile newly fallen. He was apprehended and is being held without bond for attempting to circumvent this most recent misconstrual of all holy decree from the great and omniscient Nollop, J. It could have been worse, but J. As you might say, jumpin' Jehoshaphat. Love you. Love to your mother, Ella. Savannah, Georgia, USA, Friday, September 8th. Dear Miss Percy, my application for visa has been approved and I will be arriving Monday, September 18 at Pier 4 in Nollopton on the 412 Walmart supply boat. If it isn't convenient for you or your daughter to meet me, I will find my own way up to your home in Nollopville. It shouldn't be difficult. I spent my childhood studying maps of your island. As I understand, the eternal mainway is mired this time of year. Don't expect me until late. I've just received word about the loss of the tile containing the letter J, and do not wish to wait until I see you to share important news. Chemists here in Georgia, who have obtained smuggled chips from the 2 earlier fallen tiles, have just completed an exhaustive battery of chemical analyses on the fixative that has held the tiles in place for the last 100 years. Their assessment is that the glue, a strange compound not familiar to them, glue which also oddly and we know impractically served as a substitute for simple durable cement, has calcified to the point of ineffectual granule and powder. Within months, perhaps even weeks, all of the tiles currently mounted on the cenotaph will become similarly loosened and fall to the ground. The chemists doubt that within a year's time there will be even a single tile left affixed to the monument. Should your counsel continue along its present course, the outcome will be too dire even to contemplate. Here I am telling you nothing you don't already know. I am, as you can also imagine, fast losing my academic objectivity. Word of the Rameson's ordeal reached us this morning. While researching the series of articles, I now plan to write the Council's recent actions and the tangible effects of those actions are having upon the residents of Nollop. I seek, in addition to your hospitality and safe cover, assistance from you in reaching that one member of the Council you feel most open to reading the chemist's report and making a case for a reversal of these apocalyptic directives. It is, I believe, well worth a try. Sincerely, Nate Warren. Nollopville, Sunday, September 10. Dear Ella, most wonderful news. Mr. Warren, who will be arriving on the 18th, is coming to our rescue. I know it's foolish to put stock in any promises of assistance, and while I hope that your underground meetings prove independently fruitful, I cannot count on them. Forgive my blunt honesty here, and must parcel my optimism in such a way as to best contribute to the state of my emotional health, but I am nonetheless encouraged by the following. Warren arrives bearing more than simply suitcases and notebook. He brings as well the results of chemical analyses performed on slivers of the errant tiles, analyses which prove beyond doubt and wanton denial that the tiles are falling for the simple reason that they can no longer hold themselves to the Bandiford. It is as elementary as that. Nollop is not God. Nollop is silent. We must respect that silence and make our decisions and judgments based upon science of the fact and simple, old-fashioned common sense, a commodity absent for too long from those in governmental elevatia, where its employ will do us all much good. I seek your assistance, dearest cousin, in determining which of the pious 5 would be most open to reading Mr. Warren's report. I think perhaps it would be Mr. Little. He has always seemed to me the least moronic of the bunch. Indeed, if I am not mistaken, Mother voted the man many years ago for this very reason. Rush me in tomorrow morning's post, dear cousin. your much anticipated opinion on the matter, and good luck with tonight's meeting. Please don't interpret my lack of active endorsement as a dismissal of your family's admirable efforts. I'm afraid I'm becoming more and more the selective cynic. Thankfully, now and then, I do see glimmers of hope, and Mr. Warren has just unveiled such a glimmer. I'm looking forward to my upcoming visit with you and Aunt Gwinnett and Uncle Amos. Let me know when it would be most convenient for me to come down. Mother sends her love, Tassie. The Office of High Council, Nollopton, Monday, September 11th. Greeting, Nolopians. It has come time for the Council to make its position clear and direct with regard to the issue of the fallen tiles. Indeed, our last 3 executive sessions were devoted exclusively to this task. The product of those sessions is this letter, which we now post to every family on the island in an effort to bring us the common mind on this, the most pressing matter ever brought before our people. It is a matter with which each member of this body has thus entangled. Late into the night we have searched our souls, into the wee smalls we have plumbed our hearts in profound, incensured moral rectitude. Because a formidable duty has been charged to us, and overtitious ask me now posed, yea, posited, which we cannot in good conscience ignore, and in the answer, in the noble venture of compliance, our mission now comes to encompass the putting forth to all of you, the good people of this proud and independent island nation, the reasons behind what at times must seem a harsh and unwavering capitulation to the wishes of Almighty Nollop. This we do willingly, we do dutifully. Some, including those malcontents and apostates who have since departed our shores, might wish to modify the word wishes in the previous paragraph by the term perceived, as if everything passed down to you from council assembly has been based upon supposition, upon meandering hypothesis, and amorphous conjecture. It is none of these things. The signs have been presented to us, and while it took us a while to ascertain the desired course rising from their assignment, we are happy to say, with only temporary delay, securely grasp and freely endorse without temperage these pathfinders dropped literally at our feet. For those of you who desire explication, we offer the following 10 salients. 1. Nollop was a man of words. 2. We are a people of words. 3. All that we are, we owe to Nollop. 4. His will be done. 5. We have become unfortunate victims of our own complacency. 6. Complacency is a destructive force capable of ending through invidious stagnationality all that is good which we have created for ourselves here. 7. The following tiles can represent only one thing, a challenge, a summons to bettering our lot in the face of such deleterious complacency and in the concomitant presence of false contentment and rank self-indulgence. There is no room 8. There is no room for alternative interpretation. 9. Interpretation of events in any other way represents hearsay. 10. Heretics will be punished, as was, for example, Mr. Nollop's saucy stenographer, who was cashiered for flippantly announcing to her employer the ease with which she could herself create such a sentence as his. Those of you who see undue cruelty in the penalties meted out for speaking or writing the forbidden letters should make note of the following 3 points. 1. Adhering to the commandments of Nollop leaves no room for fear of punishment or forfeiture. He who walks in the light has no reason to fear the darkness. 2. There is no such thing as an accident or misspeak, only grossly underapplied discoursal perspicacity with unguarded exposure to distractional digression. A lighted path is clear. There is no reason, save mischief and tension, to stray into the darkness. 3. The severity of punishment is an irrelevant issue. Given the opportunity to avoid punishment altogether, keep to the path to avoid what is promised to be a broken and jagged shoulder. Returning to the saucy secretary, she was given fair warning by Nollop that her unsubordinate speech would not be tolerated, that one of such intellectual inferiority could ever in a lifetime duplicate the work of Nollop was unfathomable, her claim hypercomical. Nollop said as much, even challenged the pert stenographer to come up with a sentence of her own measuring 35 letters or less and containing all of the letters of the alphabet. She tried. She failed. In fact, the best she could muster was a short anecdote about an imaginary animal park, in which the occupants revolted by exchanging their stripes and spots. It precisely ran 289 letters. She used the word yak 3 times. The secretary, we might further add, was never able to come up with a sentence matching Nollop's because it simply cannot be done. This is what has given Nollop his preeminence. Omnipotent, omniscient, omniglorious, praise Nollop, and honor his wishes by removing J with jubilation. Sincerely, your High Council, Gordon Willingham, LaGreer Houston, Harton Mangrove, Rederick Little, A. Plastman. The Wick Brown Fox over the lay dog. Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, Monday, September 11th. Dear Mr. Minnow P., I am in receipt of your letter regarding my order of miniature moonshine vessels. Note that I have no interest in violating your Island Council's 3 recent statutes regarding alphabetical elision, so we will continue to refer to the vessels as simply vessels. Given the marketability of your previous consignments, the 50 figure is much too low. Please deliver to my warehouse double that amount by December 1st in time for the Christmas market, and I will pay you an additional $5 per vessel, with a bonus of $550 for the effort. Please note, all payments will be in American dollars and not in Nalopi and Nevins. Given the instability of your national currency, I see no reason for you to oppose this arrangement. I look forward to hearing if you will be able to meet the order, and look forward as well to many years of doing business with such a talented artisan. With all the best wishes, Charles Ray McHenry. Upon the Percy Refrigerator, Knowlettville, Monday, September 11. Dear Mother, I have finished the wash, hung all the clothes out to dry, and gone down to the store to find starfish for my collection. Abby says the tide brought in a number of small ones this morning. You were so sweet to make crab cakes last night. Perhaps you will make them again next week for Mr. Warren. No one can resist your scrumptious crab cakes. Come down later and spend some time with me. I miss the old you. Can I say that? You've changed so much over the last few weeks. I do worry about you. We can make do without this new letter, as we have without the other 2. It should not be so hard. You will see. Love, Tassie. Knowlettville, Tuesday, September 12th. My dear friend Agnes, thank you so much for the cookies. You sent far too many. Regardless of the state of my emotional health, I will share them with Tassie and some of the neighborhood children. But even then, I shall still have cookies to spare. You are a good and kind friend. I have treasured your friendship as far back as I can remember, and will always do so. Love, Mitty. Knowlettville, Wednesday, September 13th. Dear Mitty, I am recalling the day we met. We were all 4. How is it possible to remember so far back? Perhaps because I counted you as a special friend at the very moment our mothers plopped us down on the seesaw together. I baked my raisin pecan cookies, darling Mitty, because there is little else I can do. What is happening here to you and me, to our families and friends, it frightens me so much I sometimes find myself standing for long periods of time in the middle of my kitchen, much like a statue, much like that infernal statue of Mr. Nollop, immobile, unable to do anything except return by cursed rote to the baking of my cookies. And this I do, often late into the night. Do you think I am losing my mind? When I bake, I do not have to speak. When I bake, I do not have to make sense of anything except the ingredients summoned by memory that I have laid out in front of me. Sometimes the children offer to help, but I do not accept. This is something best done alone. Something I do well. One of the few things I actually can do. So I eat them all. I will bake more. It is what I do, all I can do. Love, your friend Agnes. From the desk of Rory Cummels. Knowlettville, Wednesday, September 13th. Dear Miss Percy, I feel that I owe you and your daughter Tassie further explanation for my rather odd behavior when you came into my market yesterday. In a nutshell, my wife has left me. Donna has taken our 2 girls and is moving to the States. I could not convince her to stay. I have obviously been a little distracted lately and simply wasn't paying attention. I should never have rung up your Baisley cheddar 3 times. You should have shot at my market for years. Surely must remember nothing like this having happened before. Perhaps I am wrestling needlessly with a decision that has already been made. It will be impossible for me to move to the States with Donna. My livelihood, what there is left of it, is here in Nollop. My home is here, in addition to which I own about 50 acres north of the village in the glades, currently undeveloped, on which I have hopes of someday building a small retirement community for myself and others. I am angry that all we have come to value, perhaps even take for granted, is being ripped from us one tile at a time, and I will not stand for it. My brother Clay, whom you may know, I believe you trade at his confectionery, believes that the falling tiles do not in any sense indicate a desire on the part of the very late Mr. Nollop to remove these letters from our language. He believes, in fact, the exact opposite, that this is Nollop's way of encouraging us to use these special letters more than ever before. They are being singled out for his purpose, and this purpose alone. He is founding a movement. I was of a moment ago interrupted by one of my customers. She reports that a tile containing the letter D has fallen. I don't think this is a mere rumor. God save this doom-saken little island. Sincerely, Rory Cummels. Knowletville, Thursday, September 14. Dear Mr. Cummels, may I call you Rory? I do not fault you for your behavior on Tuesday. We are all on edge, some of us more so than others. I am so sorry to hear that your wife and daughters have left, and I truly understand how difficult it would be for you to immigrate as well. Your corner market has been a welcome fixture in the village, and it would be a terrible loss to see it close. This is not perhaps the appropriate time, but I should like to invite you to take coffee with me when an occasion proves convenient. I should like to hear more of your brother's movement and your own opinion of it. I should like as well to seek your advice on other matters. The news of D is, alas, all too true. I dare not even contemplate the attendant ramifications. With all the best wishes, Mitty Percy. Knowletville, Friday, September 15. Dear Miss Percy, thank you for your kind invitation. I would be delighted to meet you for any beverage of your choosing. At the risk of being too forthcoming with regard to the details of my present situation, I should state that my wife has left me not only in the proximal sense, but in the marital sense as well. Divorce, I'm afraid, is imminent. I look forward to seeing you soon in some milieu other than my store. Sincerely, Rory Cummels. Knowletville, Friday, September 15th. Hello, neighbor. You are invited to attend a showing of Surf of Dreams, a collection of seascapes and sky studies by Georgianne Towgate. Where? The Towgate front lawn. When? Sunday, September 17th. Bring your checkbook and a smile. Please, silent, pantomimical bids only. In the land of no D, silent reverence is king. Georgianne Towgate. Scribbled note at the bottom. Mother, I found this taped to the front door. Does the name sound familiar? It's that awful woman who reported your classroom slip. Know a good rainmaker? Cassie. Knowleton, Friday, September 15th. Dear Cousin Tassie, much to tell and little time to tell it as the afternoon post goes out in less than 45 minutes. Last evening's meeting was a Pyrrhic success. Pyrrhic in that we had to turn more away than we would have liked, lest we betray by our sheer numbers the purpose behind our assemblage. And because word seemed to have spread among many whom we did not know, there was no discussion per se, only promises to meet again in smaller numbers to ensure that knowledge of our secret confabets would not spread to those with power to see us disbanded before we had even gotten started. Funny, isn't it, dear cousin, to have a meeting, and an enthusiastically attended one at that, in which nothing gets discussed? Oh, but the things that went unsaid, and the things that shall be said and done when we feel safer or more secure in our gatherings. You are right that Mr. Little is the likeliest candidate from among the pentapriests to see the chemist's report, although I don't trust of any of the 5 to open their minds even a scintilla to such a pound-logical explanation for the tumbling of the tiles. And Little has been somewhat the taciturn rubber stamp of late. But perhaps it is because he has yet to be offered opportunity to stand on his own to calloused septuagenarian feet, thereupon to manipulate agenda for his own purposes, one of those purposes being his very own political survival. Am I not the cocky one, dear cousin? No, I don't think the tide is turning, the tide which washes the shores of this beleaguered island can be depended upon to follow the moon's directives from now until the death of this planet, but lovely storm tides, beautiful hurricane force, beach battering, dune grass, deracinating gales do strike our breaches now and then, and leave change in their wake. Perhaps we are about to see such a storm. We will proceed on hope, confixed in one mind and purpose upon these elite self-deluded flayers of children. Come down as soon as you like. We miss your smile, as we will sorely miss the loss of D effective of us of midnight tonight. Have you not noticed the product of my decision to dribble this dreadful diatribe, with as many uses of the doomed fourth letter as possible? Only idiots, dear cousin, or certifiable madmen would assign divine purpose to ridding ourselves of the tools not only which to address heaven itself, henceforth deity and divinity, and even the word God, will be outlawed. The council makes the following substitutional suggestions: omnigreatness and scrinity, but also of the ability as of midnight to discuss with anything but great difficulty everything that has occurred in the sanctified past. In taking Ed away, goodbye, Ed, the most useful tool to express the past tense in the English language, we are being robbed of great chunks of our very history. This constitutes, in my opinion, a significant crime, an egregious sin, and one humonicality of a daunting challenge. But then, according to Nollop, that which challenges us also makes us stronger, better able to serve his memory, better able to serve one another in service of his memory, better able to serve ourselves in service of one another in service of his memory. Sometimes I find myself laughing until I begin to choke. Yipes, the pony post cometh. Love, Ella. And goodbye for the last time. Office of High Island Council, Nolleton, Friday, September 15th. Dear Nollop Dweller, many of you have visited the council office over the last several days, voicing concern over how best to express the absence of the letter D, which leaves us at midnight tonight, each of the 7 days of the week. This is a valid concern, but not one that should in any way threaten daily discourse, for instead of the calendrical terms Monday, Tuesday, and so forth, we cheerfully offer the following surrogates. Use them freely and often, for their use honors us all. For Sunday, please use sunshine. For Monday, please use Monty. For Tuesday, please use toes. For Wednesday, please use Weddy. For Thursday, please use Thurby. For Friday, please use Fribs. For Saturday, please use Satogato. Parents, you may wish to help your children absorb these new words by turning the process into a game of some sort. Simple flashcards also constituting a tried and efficient course. Sincerely, Hamilton Ferguson, Chief Secretary, High Island Council. The Wick Brown Fox, over the lay og. Nolletville, Toes, September 19th. Ella, Mr. Warren is here. I wasn't aware that he was so young. Perhaps he only looks young. I chose not to ask his age so as not to embarrass him. Maybe 24. No more than 26, I think. He is also very attractive. He parts his hair in the center, picking up on the style of the local boys. I can tell he wants to fit in. I can tell that he wishes not to arouse anyone's suspicion. He is single as well, at least from what I have been able to learn. He was happy to show me the pictures of his mother, his cocker spaniel, even his 8-year young niece. But no beautiful fiancé, thank heaven. I am not sure why I am acting the schoolgirl, perhaps because it has been so long since we've given welcome to such an interesting visitor. I know what you must be thinking, but I can assure you the purpose of Nate's visit is not to fall in love with me. Yet in my heart of hearts, I must confess I simply cannot help myself from the inevitable what if. He got in last night, by the way. Have I written that he's witty? Clever to near fault, it turns out, not to mention the fact that he speaks with such mellifluous Savannah honey voice that I come close to simply melting away each time he opens his mouth. I must confess as well to being still in the thrall of 2 full glasses of Sonoma Cabernet. I write you, glancing at the clock near my cot at 1 a.m. Sleepy, I know I ought to be, but I am not. I must also relate how taken Mother is with our new house guest. For his part, Mr. Warren has been most open to our smiling, accompanying, eager to please hospitality, reciprocating our courtesies with southern tangy flattery, and couplet with sweet masculine grace. He will be staying with us for a week or so before traveling your neck of the forest to meet with Mr. Little. If I am lucky, his trip to town will concomitate perfectly with my own trip to see my favorite cousin. Tomorrow I shall wake, thereupon to wish none of this were put to paper, but by then it will be too late, for this letter is going into the corner mailbox as soon as I can throw on a robe to venture out. What a lovely time we have spent this evening, sweet Ella, even without the use of the 4 illegal letters. I must own to a slippage on occasion. There was a slippage from each of us as the evening wore on, our tongues becoming looser. It was almost impossible not to stumble in light of the intoxicating circumstances, but we were lucky in that such a mistake took place. There were no ears pressing themselves against the portals or finisters to overhear. I trust, as always, a safe, non-intercept passage of this letter, for while arguable is the possibility that Ollop speaks to us post-mortem, sans mortar, as it were, the one thing that isn't contestable, that rings with pure alloyless truth, is the last thing that left our venerable vocabularian's mouth prior to his expiration. Love one another, push the perimeter of this glorious language. Lastly, please show proper courtesy, open not your neighbor's mail. You may recall that this was a rare pet peeve of Mr. Nollop's. Love, Tassie. Nolletville, Weddy, September 20. Ella, I beg you to ignore that last letter. I was in a state of shameful inebriation. Mr. Warren is a nice man, that is all, a nice man. I am near mortification. Love, Tassie. Knowlettville, Weddy, September 20. My loving sister Gwinnett, I cannot teach. Without that grammatical unifier, it is impossible. I plan to resign tomorrow. Semicolons are simply not an option. These youngsters are only 7. Young people of such age can't fathom semicolons, nor can I employ an or when I want the other one, the one that brings together, not separates. My brain throbs. I have a hangover. Far too much wine last night. The wine plus the loss of that grammatical unifier. It is all too much. Forgive me for my weakness. Love, your sister Mitty. Knowlton, Thurby, September 21st. Throbbing sister Mitty. Still you are luckier to be in the village. 18 families were sent away this morning, many of the members I knew. Losing the first 3 letters was relatively easy in comparison to this most recent banishment. Slips of the tongue, slips of the pen. All over town people hesitate, stammer, fumble for ways to express themselves, grip-grasping about for linguistic concoctions to serve the simplest of purposes, receiving no easy purchase. I go to the baker's, I point, we all point. We collapse upon our mattresses at the close of each evening, there to feel utterly, wholly diminished. There, I now happily enlist the First Offense Club. It feels exhilarating. You know I cannot allow you to be a member of any club to which I cannot belong. I will show a copy of this letter to one of our local authorities. I will receive my official censure. We shall be sisters true as always. Love, Gwinnett. Office of the High Isle Council, Knowlton, Fribbs, September 22. Miss Minnow, we appreciate your coming to us with a copy of your letter to your sister, but it was unnecessary. Your offense was known to us even before the letters received by your sister. Effective as of September 15th, the primary responsibility of our Isle's new Assistant Chief Postal Inspector has been to scan all posts for use of illegal letters of the alphabet, then to take nightly reports to the Council. A report has been put in file on your behalf, your official sentence to be forthwith in issuance. 48 hours hence you will present yourself to an officer of the LEB at Town Center, there to choose between cephalostock or public flogging. As your use of the letter combination at the close of the tertiary paragraph in your epistle to your sister contains not one employment of an illegum but 2. Perhaps you are unaware. This is no excuse, especially in light of the fact that your choice of this letter combination was attributable to flagrant provocation. We might note, to allay certain fears, that the Assistant Chief Postal Inspector may not, upon Council behest, report content of anything he sees in the performance of his responsibilities. His task is merely to seek instances of illicit-medical activities. Ours continues to be a free, open society. There will be no censures or prosecutions for exercising one's free speech rights in service to the laws of this nation, even though those rights entail criticism of the High Council. You may be certain of no violation of Knowlt's terminal cot wishes when we say that all letters, all parcels that the inspector opens, which are not violative, will be promptly put to sealed and sent on their way. As a further assurance of the guarantee of your constitutional right to privacy, please note the Assistant Chief Postal Inspector is an imbecile savant from France. English is a foreign language he has yet to master. Sincerely, Hamilton Ferguson, Chief Secretary, Office of High Isle Council. Knowlton, Sadogado, September 23. Tassie, I cannot believe it, neither can Pop. What was Mom thinking? We are encouraging her to choose cephalostock. I will not allow any mother of mine to submit to the lash. With love, Ella. Knowlton, Sunshine, September 24. Mitty, I cannot imagine what they are looking at our mail without ulterior motives. Henceforth, I encourage you not to censor your text, but to give serious thought to the using of Tisby, Cohan, Cross-Isle, Courier Service for all letters you wish to post to me. They are as fast as the Pony Brothers Express. Most importantly, their gypsy operation more often skirts the attention of the postal inspectors. I will use them as well. I will also encourage the girls to employ their services. The only potential unpleasantness I can foresee in making the switch will be an occasional stench upon the envelope, owing to the fact that the Tisby-Cohan Cross-Isle Courier Service is run by the employees of the Tisby-Cohan Septic Evacuators. Still, though, I think it's just worth it. We now live in an official police state, be sure of it. I chose cephalostock, you will be happy to hear. Following much pressure by family members, It was not so traumatic as one might think. There were a number of others in similar straits. Many of the families brought bulging picnic baskets. There was also a lovely fish fry with hush puppies, your favorite, buttery corn on the cob, mouth-watering tomato slices, also the singing of tuneful gullifolk songs. It was, I must profess, one of the nicest afternoons I remember having spent in some time. Amos was even able to sell a few of his miniature spittoons. Two chose whipping. Valiantly the men took to their lashes. Later, wearing the crimson stripes as emblems of honor, you may know these two. They are from the village, members of a sect which believes that Nollop's wishes have been put to gross misinterpretation. Rather than shunning the letters per council proclamation, they urge the opposite to the extreme. The problem with this position, as refreshing as it seems, is the unfortunate result that naturally follows the putting of such belief into practice. Must go now to massage the crick in my stiff neck. By the way, this is the 6th anniversary of Amos's recovery. Not so much as a beer in all these years, in spite of that sort of stressful circumstances that might prompt even Carrie Nation to imbibe, naturally using her hatchet as a resourceful bottle opener. Ella. Notlopville, Monty, September 25th. Last night I woke from a horrible nightmare in which I saw myself sitting beneath the cenotaph as another tile fell to earth. The tile came to rest facing up. It was an eye. I woke screaming. Mother spent the next few minutes trying to convince me that the chances of this happening were slim, that so far Nollop has been most helpful to us by keeping all vowels firmly in place. Hearing my scream, Nate came into the room to comfort me as well. Then you believe in the power of Nollop? I put to Mother. Mother shook no, but then gave this response. Here is what I believe. If Nollop actually exists, in spirit form of course, then perhaps it is for some positive purpose, perhaps even the interposing of finish to all this insanity emanating from the council chambers. Now Nate was smiling. The fable of Nollop has won acolytic support in the Percy house of all places. Mother, mere supposition, Mr. Warren. I am only saying if Nollop exists. Now a bigger smile from Nate then. So why thinkest thou he hasn't chosen thus far to take heavenly retribution against this cretinous counsel of yours? My turn now. Because he is waiting for the right moment? Nate shook no while grinning his biggest grin of all. You want the truth of what I think? Here's the nutshell. Nollop, when he was alive, was pure charlatan, a veritable con man, phenomenally successful in pulling the wool over the eyes of 35,000 naivetes ripe for the pulling. If he exists at all as manipulating eternal spirit, I see no reason for his not being of the selfsame ilk. Humbug terrestrial, humbug everlasting? Nate was beginning to make sense. Humbug, yes, as well as simply not a very nice man. Listen up, my pretty Percy postulators. Nate was becoming a bit familiar. This was not a problem for Mother or for me. Your council was built on power lust. Nollop's whole life was a construct not only of such lust for power, but of an unnatural craving for outright worship. Yet the man was without any merit, any virtue, holy or otherwise whatsoever. Look at what befell his secretary. For that matter, look at what befell nearly everyone he met. All those instances of truth, fairness, humanitarianism, altruism, pure mythology, perhaps worse than mythology, Nollop has become your Baal. Baal? This from Mother, although I was taken aback as well. There's biblical for you. My shiver was obvious. Nate was finishing up now. Allow me finally to offer up this arresting little trenchancy. Given a few weeks, I or either of you, must anyone think of this isle for a matter, might learn how truly easy it is for one to create a sentence of length matching Nollop's, perhaps one even shorter. In fact, this may be our ultimate salvation. Mother fell silent, I as well. Sweet Ella, broach this at your next meeting. I am curious to learn the response it receives. Love, Tassie. Nollopton, Toes, September 26. Tassie, intriguing as Nate's proposition is, I will present as you suggest. An even more curious event has taken place. An O has fallen. One of the 4 O's, the last appearance in the vulpine canine sentence. The council has gone into emergency session. What meeting to assign to loss of a letter whose removal leaves 3 companions still extant? I carry a mischievous grin upon my lips. How will they glean? Whatever will be their ruling this time, now that Nollop has become strangely obtuse? We await their pronouncement. In the meanwhile, I eagerly await the arrival of my cousin along with their new companion, Nate. Love, Ella. Nollopville, Weddy, September 27. My sweet Mitty, this will be my last letter to you. I can write no more. Writing has never been an easy task for me, even prior to the loss of the fourth letter. It now takes a large part of my wakeful hours trying to make intelligible contact with those I love. I haven't your schooling nor your facility with language. It compels all the mental energy I can summon simply to communicate orally with Cooney. Not to mention the young ones, I no longer bake cookies. In your last letter you wrote of how unhappy you are. Many hours are spent in similar melancholy. I am speaking less. There have been 2 slip-ups. The next will surely result in my banishment. I cannot leave my Cooney, my Sabina, my Gerald, my Ursula, as well as the one whose birth name we may never speak again. She has chosen Bathsheba as a substitute, but it will take some time for me to become wholly comfortable with it. My sweet Mitty, it is so strange, so terribly strange, how taxing it has become for me to speak, to write without these 4 illegal letters, but especially without the 4th. I cannot see how, given the loss of 1 letter more, I will be able to remain among those I love, for surely will I misstep. So I have chosen to stop talking, to stop writing altogether. Perhaps we will see each other soon. That is, if you are still here. Many, as you will know, are leaving us. Perhaps I may come to your house for a visit. Cooney loves it there, near the water. He says there is no better fishing on the isle than from the village pier near your home. We will not speak, we two, but I eagerly expect to pore with you in warm silence over our musty high school annals, as well as those fox-worn nature scrapbooks we spent several beautiful summers lovingly compiling. Pray for me, sweet Mitty. Banishment for me would mean my very extermination. Love, your Agnes. The Office of High Counsel, Nollopton, Thurby, September 28. To Agnes Prather. We write to inform you that in your letter to one Mitty Percy on September 27, you chose to use in the line beginning, Banishment for me, a letter combination containing one of the 4 graphemes, presently unavailable for use per Council Statute 2842. Please make note that this for you constitutes offense number 3. It will be necessary for you to report to constitutes offense number 3. It will be necessary for you to report to Barcation Pier number 7 at 9:30 a.m. on Sado Gato, September 30, for permanent expulsion. You may bring 2 suitcases. We will permit also 1 hot box. Sincerely, Hamilton Ferguson, Chief Secretary, High Isle Council. Nollopton, Thurby, September 28. Sister Mitty, I have news. We may continue to use the letter O until such time as its brothers choose to fall. Notice that I prefer not to attribute the recurrent plunges to the almighty Nollop. However, the High Council asks that we cut usage of the letter by 25%. I am curious to know how they plan to police this. Tassie is here. She arrives as I write these very lines. I have not seen my favorite niece, can you believe it, in almost 6 months. Nate accompanies her. He has everything that has been written about him. Polite, very nice looking. I wish him luck in this meeting with Mr. Little tomorrow. A little not so positive news. Amos has been caught in offense number 2 in last night's poker game. It was such a foolish mistake. It might have gone without report, except that Morton, who owes him money, chose to employ outright extortion against poor helpless Amos. Amos's preference was for not playing along. Imagine the effrontery. Morton attempting to ignore the offense in exchange for clearance of a rather large financial obligation. Amos thought, of course, that Morton was bluffing. Fortunately, this particular game, it turns out, Morton was not. I say foolish because any competent contemporary poker player knows that this game is rife with lexical pitfalls, best to play in wary silence. Yet Amos wasn't silent. In fact, Amos, thanks to chugging back 4 bottles of stout lager, was anything but silent. May I repeat an important part of this last statement? 4 bottles. Yes, Amos has fallen totally off the wagon. Moreover, the wagon has all but run over him. The wages for the topple were high. By concentrating a little too much on refraining from use of the 4th letter, he was to employ by careless miscalculation the tantamountifically perilous 10th letter of the alphabet. Thanks security, the suit in his possession was hearts so you might be on boat. Sadogado morning. King, consort, knave. Knave! I thought all poker players were in agreement on these new royal appellations. Love, Gwinnett. Nollopton, Thurby, September 28. Mother, we are here. It was a pleasant trip. Nate is preparing to meet with Mr. Little. Aunt Gwinnett is herself preparing for a big meeting tomorrow night. She will invite Nate to speak to the group. Uncle Amos agrees that this was a wise move. Nate has several things of importance to tell the members of this refreshingly subversive Subterra group. It is all very exciting. I think we are on the brink, things possibly beginning to turn in our favor. In spite of the loss of the new title, you'll hear soon, not to worry. It is one we can easily spare. K. My preference, the loss of another O, but we can certainly live with this. I love you, Mother. Please, Heavenly Nollop, spare V until the last, so that I may continue to profess my affection for my precious Mamma, Tassie. P.S. The statutes come with greater alacrity. The latest official elision takes place at 12 on the Sato Sunshine cusp. P.P.S. I am falling in love with Nate. There was a passionate kiss on the trip to town. It took me completely by surprise. Kiss me again, Nate, while I may still speak of it. Nollopville, Fribs, September 29. My loving Tassie, I must tell you of something nice that has taken place. I was sent an invitation by Mr. Rory Cummels, who you will remember is the owner of the market in our village, to come to his house for coffee for a pleasant neighborly chat. Rory hasn't the trouble most here in Nollopville have in carrying our conversation without the usual stuttering stoppages that seem to penetrate every verbal exchange I exchange in these trying times. It seems a gift, his knowing instantly which letter combinations to use to bypass the verboten ones. In turn, I gain an easiness, a level of public comfort I haven't felt for some time. He is cheerful, but not without his own tales of sorrow. His family has left him. It is now official. He cannot follow, as he is in possession not only of a fairly profitable business. With the choosing of McNulty's greengrocer, you're probably aware his will be the last groceritariat in the village, but other real property as well. To simply walk away from such an investment, this can only be financially catastrophic. There is also relating to his wife the matter of alienation of affection. His marriage is in its last hobbling months. I believe that Rory likes me, Tassie. He seems to truly appreciate my company. I want to see more of him. I believe he seeks the same of me. Finally, a bright ray in all the murk. I am not feeling even an ounce of concern over the loss of Kay. Kay may go. The two of us will learn to accept its loss. You are probably at this point examining this letter with utter stupefaction. Has your gloomy mother taken leave of all her senses? No, I am only allowing myself a little happiness while I am still able. You know, as I, that time is running out. Love, Mother. Nollopton, Fribs, September 29. Mother, I am very happy for you. Meeting Mr. Cummels is a positive thing, I am sure of it. I worry that there is no one looking out for you now that I am here in town. I will worry less knowing that the two of you may become close. Nate has met with the council member Little. There is much to relate. Nate began the meeting with a formal presentation. Little gave it his close attention. In the presentation, Nate built his, in my opinion, extremely substantial case for the reason we, along with a number of prominent American chemists, believe the tiles to be falling. When it was over, Little sat back in his chair, let his eyes close in momentary rumination, then gave his response. It may be true. It may all very well be true. Then silence. A long silence, which I knew from Nate's expression left him slightly uneasy. Eventually, Little spoke again. I may be alone within the council in leaving open the possibility that this theory, this careful interpretation of events as you present it to me, may very well ring true. Nevertheless, young man, it is still important for me to see more compelling proof. Nate was obviously upset by this response, but kept his temper. But you have the lab reports, sir. They're right in front of you. What more is necessary? You've given me the scientific reason for why the tiles are falling, Mr. Warren, but might not Snollop be working through the science? Have you ever thought of this? The science, important fact, actually serving a specific purposes. Therefore, that of which I must now have positive proof, the single fact that I must know for certain is that Great Nollop isn't working at all. But what proof? I can't raise the man from the grave to ask him point blank. Still, Nate thought, Little thought, then a smile from my Nate. I knew from the look on his face what was to come next. You venerate Nollop for one reason, Mr. Little, one reason only. A tip of noggin from Little, the sentence, that all-striking sentence which graces our national cenotaph. Nate went on, but what if it turns out that Nollop wasn't the only man capable of cobbling such a sentence? But he was. But what if there have been others? There have been no others, Mr. Warren, we are fairly certain of this. Fairly, but not absolutely. Please, Mr. Little, hear me out. What if it were possible for someone other than Nollop to come up with such a sentence and say, what might be inappropriate? Little wasn't the one to let others finish their sentences. If I were to give you until the last setting sun, Mr. Warren, it cannot, simply will not happen. Why, it's pure utter futility. But your point isn't a complete one. Isn't a complex one, Mr. Warren. What you are saying is that if there exists such a person with such a gift, why, we might have to place that special person right up there with Nollop, on the very same plane. Is that not the thrust of your argument? If he or she is successful, well, naturally, Is this a challenge, Mr. Warren? Might you welcome such a challenge, Mr. Little? I may not welcome it. I might, however, in proper fairness, entertain it. Then I'll make it official. It's a challenge. Will you take it to the council? A sentence of 35 letters, or less. Then a crinkle, now an elaborate furrow to Little's hoary brow. He was thinking, intense, all-important history-making thoughts. No, it must be conclusive. 35 letters isn't conclusive. I suggest 33, no, 32 letters. 32 letters? That's correct. But that leaves a mere 6 for replication. 6! That's my offer. Take it or leave it. How long will you give us, Mr. Little? Remembering, of course, that Nollop spent all of his youth creating his sentence. Well, I certainly won't allow more than a few weeks, especially with all the help you will be receiving. You will have until November 16th, Nollop's birth anniversary. Remember as well that this offer must still win approval by the council. Nate thought this fair. The two men shook on it. As the Subterra meeting tonight, the challenge will be put to all present. We hope to relay it throughout the nation. Please cast it about the village on our behalf. We will cross our fingers that the council approves. We'll know nothing until after the council session tomorrow morning. With this most encouraging news I'll close, but not without saying farewell to my favorite breakfast cereal. You will, of course, remember to throw out the special K, yes, Mother? I love you, Tassie. The wick brown fox umps over the lay. Nollopton, Sado Gato, September 30. Mother, so much to tell, so little time to tell it. Those who were present at last night's meeting have chosen to embrace the challenge with absolute relish. The prospect of actually being able to control the outcome of this ghastly assault on our collective spirit, let alone our very humanity, by turning this offensive upon its sophists, has sent some among our Subterra movement to heights of unencompassable ecstasy. The best news of all, the council is in full agreement with the challenge. It was official as of this morning. So secure they seem to be in this asinine, assailable position of theirs. We approach the ramparts ourselves commensurably secure. High noon awaits. At first, Nate thought that he might get news to computer programmer, with whom he is familiar, a former college roommate in Orangeburg, South Carolina, who he is certain can crunch the letters to in effect assemble the necessary sentence within a matter of hours. But if the council were to learn that the sentence was put together by means of artificial intelligence, it might wholly thwart our primary purpose, this being to show that some other human, not Nollop, most certainly not an electronic computing apparatus, was able to come up with the obligatory sentence containing all 26 letters of the alphabet, using only 32 letters in its execution. So he chose to expel that thought without pause. What it will come to will be this: one of us will recreate it. A sentence to surpass that of holy Nollop. One of us shall, I am certain, achieve the goal of burying the myth of Nollop forever. For the next 46 son-to-sons, this will be our raison. Mine, yours, and even your gentleman companion Rory, who perhaps is still unaware of other legislation to come out of this morning's session, all property left in state of non-occupation through immigrantal vacatement will be given over to confiscatory oversight by the council, then borne to official annexation into Nolopian tax-exempt ecclesiastical boroughs, thus falling within clear parameters of council owner management. Even as things exist now, Councilman Harton Mangrove is in the process of moving with his family onto the estate of Georgie Boonswang, whose fish cannery after closure was left in similar circumstance of non-occupation, but not without proper ownership, courtesy of egregious tile alteration. Other council members seemed to be contemplating similar confiscatory moves. I must close now to return to my labors with the group, Nate, Ella, Aunt Gwinnett, Uncle Amos, each of us in pursuit of the magical, temporarily elusive sentence that shall result in our emancipation, to be sure, our very salvation. albeit a more corporal form of salvation. Our souls, though, are another matter altogether. To apportion worshipful allegiance to both our heavenly omnigreatness as well as to not the mortal marvel has become so very tiresome. One supreme being is enough for me. I much prefer the former to the latter. Love, your Tassie. Upon the Minnow Pea porch, Knowlton, Monty, October 2. My Tassie, I am watching you through the pane. You sit at the table scribbling, then erasing, biting, chewing the unfortunate pencil's extremity as you contemplate. I share your chore. I might be your portico twin, and perch upon this fresco chaise, performing same, were it not for glimpsing you through the glass. Such a beguiling sight, your long auburn tresses falling as cataract in shimmering filamentous pool upon the tabletop, gathering its swirl upon your notepaper, obscuring, framing your toil. I must return to my own mental labors, but you have given me pleasant momentary respite. My beautiful Tassie, I so love you, Nate. Knowletville, Monty, October 2. Mitty, my gentle nurse. I appreciate so much the thermos of pullet soup you sent over. You will be happy to hear that I am feeling much better this morning. When I am stronger, I am most eager to see you in some other capacity than nurse. Not that you haven't been an excellent caregiver. I trust that you are still well, that you haven't caught this nasty flu circulating through the village. These are not opportune times for any of us to be ill. There is much that we must accomplish. I myself, in spite of the flu, have spent the better part of 2 nights coming up with a sentence containing all 26 letters of the alphabet of a length of less than 50 letters, 49 to be exact. I was hoping to surprise you with one of far more impressive brevity, but shall be happy with my initial effort. Still, though, it will not fit the ultimate bill. Therefore, in concert with so many other villagers whose lamps burn late into the night, I will push on, whittling my count away. Accompanying this letter is a note brought to you by Eugenia, a little neighbor girl, whom you may have seen playing on the lawn next to mine. She is all of 7, but the perfect age to write my sentences for me for purpose of conveying them to you, so that you may monitor my progress. I expect you will employ a youngster yourself in similar fashion, so that I may learn of your progress as well. What a convenient loophole to the not always far-seeing council has given us by the exemption of these laws of the little ones. Such a sweet cooperative Eugenia. The only problem exists in getting across to her through a series of elaborate gestures or comic pointings my intent, for there really is no other legal avenue but pantomime to communicate my full meaning to her, then through her to you. Bright youngsters are his precious asset in Knowletville in these troublesome times. Sincerely, Rory. A quick move by the enemy will jeopardize 6 fine gunboats. Knowletville. Toes, October 3. Rory, your sentence is so much better, also shorter than mine. I am almost reluctant to show my efforts to you, but a promise is a promise. I am in collusion with a boy by the name of Wesley, son of the Noonans, who own Noonan's florist. Wesley's very popular. I must share his services with 4 of my neighbors. I am expecting a letter from Tassie. She will report how things are going in town. Rumor has it that someone, a professor with the university, I believe, has himself come in below 48. If this is true, it is very encouraging, is it not? Sincerely, your Mitty. Back in my quaint garden, jaunty zinnias vie with flaunting phlox. Knowlton, Weddy, October 4. Mother, 2 letters fell last night, F, and then another O. The council plans to excise F as of 12 O timepiece on the Thurby Fribs cusp. I assume they will also instruct us now to shave consumption of the letter O by 50%. There is at present fantastic support for what in town have come to call Enterprise 32. Still the council laughs at us. They taunt the little ones who write our sentences, who transport them between our houses. They gather in reverent, worshipful circles beneath the cenotaph to sing praises to Nob. It is a stomach-churning sight, even forgetting the abuses the council is currently inflicting upon the remaining inhabitants of this isle. This recent confiscation of property is a clear violation of the national constitution, yet Councilwoman Houston says we are now in an extra-constitutional crisis which calls for extra-constitutional measures. The council is preparing for that moment in which language, as it once was, ceases to exist. As far as I can tell, such preparation involves chiefly the feathering of the councilature's own nests. We pray to our own omnipresence that final moment never arrives. We're getting closer. Professor Mannheim has given us a sentence with 47 letters. It is a simple sentence with the chosen 6-year young courier. Put description in no time at all. Nate isn't sleeping. I am after him to complete his first article for Nala Piana, but he seems bent on assisting with Enterprise 32. It is an obsession. The fear is gone, though. This noble movement has given us all a special courage. I miss you. Be well. I hope to see you soon. When all of this is over, love, Tassie. John Prady, give me a black walnut box of quite small size. Knowlton, Thurby, October 5. Tassie, you were not at home when they came. 3 LEB officers in possession of papers. Papers with my name on them. Your cousin Ella was there, though, your aunt, your uncle as well. They will tell you more this evening. I write this from the Office of Corrections at Town Center. I must remain here until the Chief Magistrate is able to see me. I have a strong sense as what this is about. Apparently someone has become aware of my publication. Information about my whereabouts has brought them straight to me. If I am to be stolen from this isle, stolen from you, it will be my own fault, though not using an alias when I came over. Will you ever forgive me, Tassie? Will I ever see you again? If you are giving any thoughts to coming with me, I will not allow it. You must stay to fight because I cannot. This is not an act of gallantry or heroism on my part. I am only being practical. I want you to be practical, too, to contribute where I now cannot. Be sure of it, my Tassie, that when the battle is won, we will be together again. Enterprise 32 will be a success. It will be our happy fate, you'll see. Your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, they all agree with me. Even your mother up in the village, I am sure, if it were put up to her. I will try to contact you before they put me on the boat. If I miss that opportunity, please write. Continue to write. You cannot let them stop you. Soon we may all have to learn Hawaiian. With love, Nate. Knowlton, Thurby, October 5th. Mother, Nate is no longer with us. I enclose a copy of the letter he sent me. He was gone before I even got to Town Center. Banishment was swift. Swift, I believe, because of his alien status. I am at a terrible loss, Mother. One I cannot even begin to articulate. Were there all 26 letters available for my use, my ability to translate my feelings, my thoughts of Nate to this page might still be put to supreme test. F leaves us tonight. I haven't even the strength to curse those beasts with that epithet youth taught me never to say. It's pointless at this point anyway. So long, F. So long, my sweet Nate. I will miss you. Ferociously so. Love, Tassie. The wick burn ox over the lake. High Council, Ribs, October 13. Noopians. Many have come to us to learn whether or not, given the latest alphabetical prohibition, employing tetra-penta class numbers as numerals, e.g. 4, 5, 45, 54, 5,445, 554,554,455, etc. is still allowable. It is, as you can plainly see, using numbers will always be permissible. There are no numbers in the Vulpine Canine sentence, only letters. Sincerely, Hamilton, Executive Secretary, High Council. Knowletville, Ribs, October 13. Tassie, violation number 2 this morning. This hapless Ribs the 13th. I was caught in the act very near our house, right there at the fishmonger's booth in the pier while purchasing shrimp. It was my plan to surprise Rory with a special gumbo supper to honor his birth anniversary. I witlessly put to use a grapheme, which I have been, at least up to now, abstaining with relative ease. Boil seasoning with that, Miss Mitty? Not this time, Xenia. I'm preparing gumbo. Then a most curious stare. I'm sure I won't be able to relate to you with any success this woman's expression, but I'll try nonetheless, because it was such a strange mixture. Surprise, slight anxiety, momentary consternation, then overwhelming saucer-eye panic. I began to stammer. What is it? What have I... And then it became obvious, in an eye-bat, all this time in my brain, never having seen her name written out. I was misspelling it. You see, Xenia's name began not with an X, but with the other letter, the one that brought in this whole reprehensible era. Hers was obviously the legal spelling, hence my culpability. This woman isn't a stranger to me, Tassie. I am no stranger to her. There is 20-year amity between us. This is why I'm so sure that she wasn't the one to report the violation. It was the other woman, the one in line with me, wearing the worn-out tunic with all the paint splotches, Georgianne Talgate, the ever-present, honor-bent Georgianne Talgate. I am sure that she was the one whose ears got it all. My suspicion was met by a smile, a sinister simper, twisting her saliva-moist, overly rebellious lips, as she apparently thought it all through, especially how important it was to bring this glaring violation to the council's attention as soon as possible. My thoughts were spinning at that moment as well, giving serious contemplation to pushing this Mary Cassatt aspirant, now my veritable Neumeister, right over the railing, straight away into the heaving sea. What a pharisaic vigilante witch! The nerve to report me not once but twice. Not being one to waste times about such things, Miss Talgate, I'm certain, brought in her eyewitness report within minutes. By early evening your poor mother was in ignominious cephalostrait. The opportunity was mine to silence the witch in perpetuity. I let it go. I am an ignoble poltroon, sincerely, your ignoble poltroon, mother. Knowlton, Sunshine, October 15. Aunt Mitty, Tassie gave me your letter. I am so sorry. What a moronic way to spell one's name. Give me permission. I will happily terminate Miss Talgate, saving you the trouble. Enterprise 32 has hit a wall at 47. Instructor Mannheim with the university, in alliance with his tireless pupils, assures us that they will soon breach their barrier. 44. But I am not so sure. Many others here in town, though, seem to have given up. Pop is beginning to believe it an impossibility. This 32-letter grail, chimera, as he calls it, we all pursue, but I am not in agreement with those who own this opinion. So many long-time Isle inhabitants are now gone. Most are expulsion victims, but some are no longer with us simply because they choose not to live in such a hostile, inhospitable place. It is no place to thrive, Aunt Mitty. No place at all to raise young ones, to even a marginally happy. Mother worries about you and Tassie not there, especially given what you mentioned in your last letter. Is the gentleman Rory being proper helpmate, protector? It gives her solace when she recalls you mentioning his ease with language. The way he seems to clearly embrace the challenges inherent in communication with restriction. Ah, that we might all ultimately rise to such challenges. Tassie is well, heart ailing, but otherwise well. We will not permit you to worry about her. She is writing tonight as much as she can. There are no guarantees that her letters are getting through to him in the States. She can only trust that those to whom she passes them will smuggle out with proper payment, will honor their contractual agreement. By the way, her epistles must still be written with all alphabetical restrictions intact, lest interception bring them to the LEB, the result being Tassie's own banishment, although I must say she is in a better position than most without even a single violation to her name. This is an important point. Recently, several on their way to Pier 7 and then to the States wrote parting letters without employing the necessary caution with respect to current alphabetical restrictions, only to have the recipients themselves brought up on charges. Remember as well that LEB thugs are still wont to engage in spot home searches, hoping to turn up anything containing the illicit epicals. One cannot be too wary. Last Thursday, a woman who lives near us was brought into LEB Precinct 2. The change, an unthought-through grocery list seen by a thug there in her icebox. Pops is staying out late, coming home with a pungent alcohol smell about him. I am not eager to tell you this, but Mother will not allow me to engage her on the topic. 48 hours ago, he was put on notice by his wholesaler that U.S. business transactions were moving to hiatal suspension. Were Pop to continue to create his miniatures, especially those popular moonshine vessels, he will have to immigrate to the U.S., which means we will have to go too. I'm sorry to say, Aunt Mitty, that I was not sympathetic, because this obviously means leaving my 18-year home here. Who can say how long? Leaving all that I cherish, leaving Tassie, leaving my sweet Aunt Mitty. There have been reports that non-expatriates are having a rough time in the States, are very much at sea in American society, in cultural isolation, as it were, unable to melt into the proverbial American melting pot. It will be the same with us, I am certain. As long as we are there, we will live as outcasts. I will tell Pop that we will live on my washerwoman's income, on our meager savings, until this crisis comes to a close. Then, as expatriates, we begin to return home. House construction will surely begin anew, carpenters such as Pop naturally obtaining ample employment in the process. But let us say this never occurs, that the crisis continues, because we cannot move below 47, because the best brains at the university, the best brains in the nation, cannot move us anywhere near 32 by November 16th. What then? It is late. Pop has yet to come home. Tassie sits writing letters to Nate, letters he may never see. The gnawing apprehension has come again. Help me, sweet Aunt Mitty, not to give in to it. Love, your niece Ella. Nollettville, Monty, October 16. Ella, I cannot help you. Not now. Please tell Tassie Rory is gone. It began this way. Brash council representatives, upon reaching his northern acreage, gave him papers that gave them authority to appropriate his property. No reason was given other than it is the council's wish. Meaning it isn't Nollop's wish, was Rory's angry response. On the contrary, the council serves only Nollop. By extension, then, Mr. Cummells, whatever laws the council passes are laws by which their nature must certainly have met with Nollop's approval. But I can't possibly see how stealing another man's property meets with Nollop's approval. The reasons are strictly ecclesiastical in nature, Mr. Cummells. Perhaps the council wishes to erect a tabernacle on this site. Rory was seething, his countenance nearly vermilion in hue. My worry that moment was that poor Rory might have a coronary arrest. A tabernacle, a temple, you actually mean a house in which to worship Nollop? That is correct. But what about the Supreme Being we presently choose to worship? There is no other Supreme Being but Nollop. Repeat that statement, sir, please. I want Miss Percy to hear it. I was then brought over as close witness. The council representative, his voice even, treacly polite, gave his response again, with slight elaboration. Mr. Cummells, it is in the council's earnest conviction that there is no other supreme being but Almighty Nollop. None whatsoever. Praise Nollop, Nollop eternal. At this point, Rory lost all control. Now, Rory isn't a very religious man. At least I never thought so, but he became at that moment positively apoplectic, moving to assault the representative with everything available to him in his verbal arsenal, utterly without restraint, letting loose with a veritable vituperative salvo, nothing printable here. Expulsion was complete within an hour's time, as an outgoing ship was set to leave at precisely the moment Rory was brought to the pier. There was a cursory exchange between us, an impotent attempt at a chin-up bon voyage replete with the now customary, almost prosaic parting anguish. A moment later he was gone. As the ship was pulling away, Rory gave the store hasty mention. It is mine now. I will try to run it as best I can, preserving the solvency until his return. Given this provision, he actually returns. That is, given this provision as well, the council chooses not to turn the little store into yet another Nolopian church. A church to bring a smile to that corpsal countenance we must all revere, or else. We have seen the or else. It no longer scares me. The lamp will burn late tonight. We will best 47. Our battle may ultimately result in our extinction, but we will win at least this small success. Less than 47. It can be. Nollop was able to in 35. Let us remember as well that Nollop was an imbecile. With love, your Aunt Mitty. Nollopton, Toes, October 17. Nate, I am not sure this letter will reach you, though I pray the contrary. Time is running out. We cannot go below 47. As much as we try, that is, those who are still trying. I am aware that some are still laboring at the university. Mother writes to Cousin Ella that she continues her own moiling over the alphabet up in the village. But the mass exit has nonetheless begun. Townspeople, villagers, as 3 more tiles have given plunge, all in one evening, 2 E's and then a B. We have 1 E remaining. The B may be a blessing. Other possibilities might have been more troublesome. Yet as I peruse what I have written up to now, I note 6 B's in the last 2 sentences. Who, then, can ever be so sure about such a thing? At this point, losing any letter can only be problematic. We have come to a travailous time, Nate. Mother's Rory is gone. Mother and Gwinnett, Uncle Amos, each has 1 violation to spare, then banishment. I am growing so weary with that term, banishment. You hear it all over, in urgent whispers and hopeless cries, companion to the listless, vacant stares, stares belonging to those who live in resignation to the grimmest possible outcome, all but put to seal, banishment. We say the term, we write the term, believing somehow that in 36 hours it surely will not be gone, that somehow the cavalry will come to our rescue. But we are our own cavalry, the only cavalry there is. whose horses seem in permanent hobble status, banishment, the next banishment victim, to become one more invisible linguista, the 4,000th, 5,000th such victim. Is anyone counting? Perhaps Nollop, expunging each entry in his heavenly lexicon, one at a time, until the tome's pages stop resembling pages at all, until they become pure expurgatory tangible. Raven striate leaves, ebony reticulate sheets, tenebrous night in thin tissue, contamination by tissue. It is almost unbearable. Am I being morose? I'm sorry, I cannot help it. I want you here. I cannot say how much. Write me. Will I receive your letter? I can only hope. I miss you so. Love, Cassie. Rin ox the leg. Naughton, topsy-turvy. Octavia, 19. My Nate, Mannheim has come through. He has at least met the goal I wrote you concerning in my last letter. He has come up with a sentence 44 letters in length, containing all the necessary 26 appearances, with the recent spate in migrations into the States. There is now a shortage, not nearly enough 6 to 7 year youngs to write the sentences. Conveniently, though, Mannheim is papa to an intelligent 6-year young lass, Paula, who met with success in her initial attempted transcription. I cannot, alas, mail it to you, as I then put yours truly at peril. Only were I a youngster, 6 or 7, I attempt to courier via the post such a precarious missive. Perhaps it will somehow reach you through other means. In other news, yes, there is much other news to tell. Someone is relaying threats to the council. Each councilor has gotten a copy. Cease the insanity or you will perish. As a result, I must now call them what I am only too happy to call them, police goons. The police goons have gone house to house in their investigation, yet have yet to turn up anyone except the usual suspects. That is virtually everyone on the Isle not in Nolopian cult thrallage. That isn't all. The council has put crepuscular to auroric house arrest upon all Nollop civilians not in league with the cult. Almost all the villagers, Mother tells me, are leaving, either moving to town or to the States. She says it is nearly a ghost town up there now. As there are no more customers, the store is no longer open. This is all right, though, she says. Victuals were starting to run scarce. Soon she will have to come to town as well, to move into my Aunt Gwinnette's house. At least I will get to see her again. I truly miss her. Uncle Amos, I'm sorry to say, is no longer with us. There was a harsh exchange, Aunt Gwinnett unhappy with his return to the alcoholic spirits. Now he lives with Uncle Isaac across town. Soon he will resolve one way or another to leave or not to leave the Isle. Yes, that is now the topic on every lip. The salient, impertinent Hamletian choice, to leave or not to leave, to waive claim to our homes, to renounce our mother soil, to give up everything to those who warrant only our lowest contempt, to those who aspire to reign in outright tyranny, who misperceive Nolopian thoughts in service to rapacious intentions. Can they not see what we see is happening here? As we to them only silent, witless non-essentials prostrate irrelevancies, to step over in their march to own, to expropriate, to steal everything in sight, even our very tongues? Nate, I have to tell you something important. I wasn't going to, however, it seems crucial to me now that you have a true, complete account as to what is going on here. I wrote the letters, the ones with the threats. Were anyone to learn this, it will mean my ruin, perhaps even my execution. Smuggler courier, my very existence is in your palms. I love you, Nate. I miss you greatly. Tassie. P.S. The Mephistopheles live here, not in the Orient. You will get my meaning later. 6 big devils from Japan quickly forgot how to waltz. Nollopville, Riguru, Octopus 20. Miss Mitty, help us, please. Something appalling has put my son Timmy in harm's way. The school says that he is 8. The school says he was 8 last month. Since last month he has not given any care to what he says. We all thought that he was exempt. that his exemption continues until November 13, when he then turns 8. When he truly legally turns 8, it seems that someone at the village archives got it wrong. Unless we can prove otherwise, Timmy will have to leave Nollop. We haven't the necessary papers to prove our claim. We lost our last home, you see. Lost everything in it to Hurricane Elspeth. Perhaps you might go to the school. You might locate something to prove that Timmy won't turn 8 until November 13. Thus, Council Proclamata cannot in any legal sense apply to him. Otherwise, he will have to go. We implore you. Sincerely, Georgianne Towgate. Nollopville, Satogato, Octarchy 21. Miss Towgate, I went to the school. With my erstwhile colleague, Miss Greahy's assistance, I spent the morning searching all the papers pertaining to your son. I must relay that nothing might help your case came to our attention. I am truly sorry. Sincerely, Mitty Percy. P.S. The tempera picture on your letter's verso is really lovely. I am partial to seascapes. It will gain a choice spot on my wall. Nollopton, Sunshine, Octangle 22. Sweet, sweet Mitty, I have ghastly news. They have Tassie. She awaits trial as suspect in those recent anonymous threats to the council. Come as soon as you can. In the event there is a guilty ruling, expulsion will not constitute a legally punitive option. Such a ruling will only result in something much, much worse, something I venture not even to say. Gwinnett. Upon the Minnow Pea kitchen table, Nollopton, Sunshine, Octane 22. Gwinnett, loving spouse, Ella, my Ella, a slip-up near a police goon. Now only minutes away, a rap on the portal, then a hasty trip to Pier 7. Will I see you two prior to my leave? I'm sorry to hear the news concerning Tassie. Who is her lawyer? Are they even allowing her counsel? I might suggest someone. There isn't much time, though. Will you see me go, or will you remain at the correctional center with Tassie? I will neglect something, I am sure, without your help. Without help you have enough. I simply can't do it any more, and why should I? Why be so careful now? Moments away from transportation to the dreaded Pier of Goodbye. What's the point? What is left to lose? Like a retarded robot, I go into the pre-programmed mode, placing my brain on high alert to avoid these not frowned-upon devil-laters. The devils aren't in Japan. The devils are here. Satan is alive and well right here in all this ZQJDKFB, jumpy brown fox, slothful pooch, quick in the dead glory, right here upon this devil's island of hatred and anger and unconscionable, inconsolable loss. Hide this letter. Hide it well. But let me say the things that I must say before it's too late. Let me say that I love you both dearly. Let me say that I'm so very sorry for returning to strong drink, for turning my back on you when you needed me most. Now that I have a voice, there are hundreds of other things I want to say, but cannot. Look into my heart and know them all. And find it in your own hearts to forgive me. You don't have to see me off. I know you're worried about Tassie, but be there with her, for her. But if you do come, please do me a small favor, a large favor, really. I'm not able to transport my miniature moonshine jugs to the pier. I would like to take them with me, though. You know that where I'm going, they won't be as good as money. You'll find them in my studio, stored together, all 10 dozen of them. Half that number should suffice. Put them in one of the little crates. They'll be easier to convey that way. Would you mind doing this one last thing for me? Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs? Thank you. Be well. Be safe. Until we meet again. Your loving husband and father, Amos. High Council, Sunshine Octonary, 22. Notice to all Nolopians, at precisely 12 tomorrow morning, the letter C will cease to exist at all points in this isle. You will eschew its use or receive penalties as per earlier council proclamata. We note that a U is gone as well. Its twin, however, remains intact. Sincerely, Hamilton, Executive Secretary, Nollop High Council. The we run ox mps or the lake. Nollopville, Monty Otterpauls, 23. Miss Mitty, I value nonetheless your going to the learning house to help my son. Little Timmy values it as well. He is gone now, Timmy. This morning, with Nash, my spouse, I must remain, as I am without violation. Nash has too. One among us must stay. I am the one. Our home, our property, it's all that we have, you see. Were we all to leave, they will not expropriate it. They expropriate property. You're aware, are you not? Please exonerate me in your heart. I am so sorry that I was the one to report your violations. I am so sorry that I was to learn what is truly important in our lives too late. Write me as well when time permits. I am the last one on my street. It gets so still, so lonely here at night. Eerily still, anguishingly lonely. Not, though, when the L.E. goons motor through, their horns wailing, hooligans. As a rule, though, it is ghostly silent here. How are you set with rations? I will soon have to miss one meal every sun to sun. Are you giving thought to moving to town? I may wish to go with you. Write soon. Georgianne Towgate. P.S. The painting was mine. It pleases me that you wish to hang it in your home. I will paint you more. Knowletville, Weddy, Onomatopoeia 25. Miss Mitty, where are you? You are not home when I go to your portal. When I ring, I note no movement within your house. Have you gone to town? Have you gone to the States? I am apprehensive. Am I now alone? Georgianne. Knowlton. Thuringio, Otalgia, 26. Sweet Tassie, they will not let me into the prison to see you. I have spent the entire post-noon, all the early hours ensuing my arrival in town, waiting here on the prison visitors' lawn to see you. Waiting. They tell us nothing. Will they even get this letter to you? It is very upsetting. I want you to grasp how very greatly I love you. I won't try to learn why you sent the threats. They push us all to the point where they say things, operate in ways that are not at all as we really are. Were anything to happen to you, what then? With all my love, Mother. Somewhere in Nolip, Sadogado, Ottoman, ruler 28. To Tassie's mother, Mitty. My guess is that you are now with your sister, so I am routing this letter to her house. I am here in Nolip, a stowaway, an illegal alien. I've spent the last 24 hours in nail-nipping intrigue, all to see the one I love, to help the one I love. I am aware that they have put her in prison, though she will not stay there long. I will see to it. Wish me well. Truly yours, Nate. Upon the Minnow P kitchen table, Knowlton, Sunshine, O Tempora, 29. Ella, while you were at the prison attempting with your Aunt Mitty yet again to get in to see Tassie, men who were sent here to see me got themselves into our own sorry impregnus, with little struggle at all. Apparently they were sent to interrogate me, the grilling pertaining to now examinate anti-high priestal movement. Unhappy with my initial responses, they grew instantly perpy when I soon let slip an illegal letter. What enormous toothy grins! What mouth enamel! You see, I gave them reason to transport me to Pier 7, toss me right into the immigrant trawler. No more, Mum. One less agitator. I am an agitator. My leave happens very soon as I am through with this epistle to you. It's a weeping shame. Why, I am not even given enough time to gather my things. All my possessions, your pop's possessions, are yours now, I suppose. Preserve them. Preserve our memory. I wish you to stay. You must stay. Maintain the struggle in our name, in our honor. I am so sorry that they will not permit me to see you prior the weighing more. Giving your Aunt Mitty a huge hug with my name on it, Tassie as well. Until we meet again, sweet Ella, with love always, your Mum. Knowlton, Sunshine, Obergarment 29. Mother, Ella, you two must stop whiling your post-noons near the prison gates. They will not let you in to see me. Go now. There are things to attain elsewhere. You are aware, right? The things, I mean? Love, Tassie. This is the last time I will terminate a letter in this manner. Now that V is soon to leave us, a new letter goes. So what else is new? The run ox umps or the leg. Slipped under the Minnow P front door. Knowlton prison. Knowlton. Toes. Halloween. Papa, 31. Miss P. Man was here, young man, southern U.S., while you were home. Got your relation, got your aunt. I let him get that Tassie, that angel girl, let him steal her, pure truth. I must sign paper saying this, per authorities. They were here, the authorities. They put me to signing this paper saying what happened. Anyway, you got no reason to return to this prison anymore, seeing that she is no longer here. They will put eye to your house, though. Might they show up there, Tassie girl, your aunt, young Amera man? My guess, though, is that those three are gone. Set sail, I'm sure, to the States. Anyway, this is the thing. You know got to return. Guess what? I go to the lash. A sentry who lets a prisoner go. He gets the lash, gets the whole 9-tail lamb. It's worth it, though, to see that sweet pretty girl released. Hurrah! Yours truly, Sentry William P. Halloween. Ella. I am no longer in prison. Nate is the reason. He got us, Mother, me. We are on our way to the States. My horsemen gallant in shining armor. I wish you were with us. Then again, it is important, too, that you remain in Nollop. Now rests almost solely upon you, Enterprise 32. You will triumph, we are sure. Our hearts, our prayers are with you, Tassie. P.S. I am trusting that the young shrimper we met in the North Lagoon will get this letter to you. He was on his way to Nollopton to sell his hull. As a result, this letter may smell slightly shrimpish. Posted on the front door of the home of a woman who wears an orange hat. Nollopton, Weddy, Nosegay 1. Woman in pretty orange hat, my name is Ella. I saw you yesters, rummaging in the rear. That shut Italian restaurant on Main. Not got to rummage. There are plenty eats in Wally's store at 8th meets Elm. Are you a shrimp eater? Wally, I hear, is a humane man. He is rationing eats. They will last longer this way. No money? No got to worry. We who are still here will help one another. I want to meet you. See me tonight? I used to possess relations. My mother, my papa, my Aunt Mitty. Her, she, heir, Tassie, gone now. All those near to me gone. I am alone. Perhaps you are alone too? See me tonight? My home? 4 houses east. I got stew tomatoes. Ella. Posted on the Minnow P front door, Nollopton, thirsty. Not a filly, too. Ella, happy to get your letter. We possess a sense sometimes we are the only ones still here. We will see you not tonight. Tomorrow night, yes? I insist, though. My home, little one, Penny, she is ill. She perhaps not so ill tomorrow, although she ought to stay in a little longer. We were not rummaging, we must say. We thought there was gas. Must get gas into our generator. How is your power? They supply us only 1 hour in the morning now. No one remaining at the power plant to man operations there. Wally is a humane man, you are right. He is helping us in his trying time. We must all help one another. Tanya T., the woman in the pretty orange hat. Nollopton, Sado No. 4. Tanya, what a sweet time I was shown at your house last night. It was so pleasant meeting your spouse. It was a pleasure, too, meeting your girl Penny. I am happy that she is nearly well. I am also happy to meet Mannheim. Also, his young assistant Tom, although not pleased to learn the Institute is no longer open. Nothing is open anymore, is this true? Tom tells me that the state operates now only to relate the next letters to omit. There are no other magisterial assertions. The thug uglies arrest, thrash, then expel. The high priest generates their alpha elisions, then return their lairs to eat what tasties were put there, while praying to Nollop, paying homage to Nollop, stooping, prostrating, salaaming to Nollop, ignoring all humanity in their Nollop apotheosis. Let us say Nollop were all hallow, preeminent, omnipotentate. Why, still shut out all those with whom one shares this planet. Were we put here on this earth only to worship, exalting Nollop is to erase all that is non-Nollopian upon this isle, to utterly erase an upright, meritorious people. Geno erasure. Oh, the humanity. So tea tomorrow? I eagerly await your response. Ella. P.S. 4343, one step nearer our goal. I hope that Tom was all right with that hug. My girl wove 6 dozen plaid jackets before she quit. Nollopton sunshine, Nora and Ephraim. 5. Miss P., a pleasure it was to meet you 2 nights ago. Your smile warms me, illuminating the gloom. The hug was pleasant as well. We are alone in the Institute now. Mannheim, his girl Paula, yours truly. The entryways are hasped shut, though we easily mount the trellis next to our lunette to gain entry. We then may toil on without expiation. The other pupils, the other worthy assistants, they are, alas, all gone. Expulsion. None, I am happy to say, went willingly. We, Miss P., may I appel you, Ella, are the only ones who persist now in Enterprise 32. The others who remain on this isle plow their energies into hunting elements, into maintaining shelter in these unsure, austere times. As a people, we Nollopians now seem to exist only elementally. Outright primals we are now. Piteous loss. A loss, though, that I may not examine too long as my mission shouts my name, our mission. We are true partners in this. May I also note that you are pleasingly pretty. I let that slip out. I am sorry. I meant it, though. Mannheim's girl Paula will wrap you on your portal soon. She will present our latest attempt. There is little time, 11 sun to suns, then the 16th. You is gone, I suppose you're aware. The first AIEIOE to go. Up until now, the other graphemes were not AIEOs. When the AIEOs start to go, Ella, writing to you turns exponentially more grueling. I will not throw in the towel, though. I trust that you won't either. I truly relish our partnership. Perhaps we may sup together tomorrow night at the Unilernity. I will show you how to shinny up the trellis. I got lime gelatin. Your ally, Tom. The Irun Ox or the Leg. Slit beneath a neighbor's front door and all up to Monte Nostromo 6. Hello there, I am Ella, the one who smiled at y'all yesters, whose home is near. I am writing to people who are still here, who I still see in the streets, who peep at me, while in porthole portiere people, wanting to say something with anxiety stilling erstwhile galloping yammers. It is important that we say something to one another, any little thing. We are not low-tier animals. We are higher entities. Am I right? Say something, a greeting, anything. It is important as well that we stay in nearness to one another, not only in the proximital sense, in the sense also as persisters, inheritors. We are all that remains, the one who maintained the remnants, the Nollop that earlier was. Retreat is not an option. Ella. Slit beneath the Minnow front door, Nollop to Monte No Way 6. Insane woman named Ella. Retreat is what we want. Go away, let we alone. Anonymous. Posted on the Minnow front door, Nolton, Monte, Nostomania, 6. Mitty. This letter I post on this here portal in hopes that Mitty might see it. That Mitty is staying here at her sister's home now. I hope it is so. I am in a home not too remote, 3 homes away. It was empty when I got here. It is my home now. It was a long trip, 2 nights to get here on shoe, to get to where my ally Mitty perhaps is. I ate twigs. I slept in suerrayos. The yellow spear shone harshly on me. In the north I was near insanity. It wasn't pretty. Isolate, solitary, so lonely it was where I was. More so lonely than here. Here where Mitty is. Please ignore not my appeal. As earlier, when one moment Mitty was there, the next she was not. I am so sorry, as I mentioned earlier, the things that I perpetrate to harm Mitty. What I see now, it's also plain. My past error is so apparent to me now. I saw into the glass swarthy. Yea, now my eyes are open. I want eagerly to go to my Nash, to my son Timmy in the States. I may not. I am to stay here. Nash tells me this is how I am to help those I esteem, the only way to retain what little we own. Yet it is hopeless, my staying here in that remote hamlet where we possess the tiny property. What is the worth? Why is my staying there more important than seeing the ones I esteem, my Nash, my sweet little not yet 8, no matter what anyone says to me? Mitty sees right. How I so miss my sweet ones. We help one another now. Agree? I say I am sorry. Mitty says it is all right. Mitty assents to this. Yes, please say we are mates. Amigas, say please that we are woman pals. I so greatly wish to hear these terms. Georgianne Towgate. All letters still here. Yea. Nolleton, Monty No, Nanette, 6. Georgianne Towgate. My mother's sister, the one thee wants, is gone. She went with her she-heir Tassie to the States. Tassie was in prison. The reason? She sent threats to the high priests. They arrest her. She is happily no longer there. Alas, neither is the one thee wants. This is, permit me to relate, why it is important that she exit thy hamlet so hastily, not the one thee imagines. There was no ill will. I shall sign on this moment as Georgianne's ally. See, I am at times lonely too. We together tonight, yes? Too lonely, amigas? I am 18, yet my age is not important. Nothing is important. Next to Enterprise 32, I await thee, Ella. Nolliton tows Noogie, 7. Tom, here's the news. There is a new woman on my street. Her name is Georgianne Towgate. She is lonely, shows great apprehension. I will try to help her. She is not at all similar to my Tom, who is strong, wise, pleasing to the eye. Thy gelatin was so tasty. I am happy I met thee, Ella. Nolliton tows Noopers, 7. Ella, no more gelatin nights now. Happy to report Enterprise 32 progress. 37. That's right, 37. Hip hip hooray. It is all too awesome. Now only 5 to go. I will not sleep tonight, neither will Mannheim. Thy amigo mate, Tom. Zelda quickly wove 8 nubby flax jumpers, Nollop high holy order. Tuesday, no Fimger, 7. Greetings, Nolopians. This is to inform you of Statute 2863 passed this morning with implorement from High Elter our Little. Henceforth, citizens may in graphy only express themselves when warrant through use of proxy letters, yet only as here-twins. Any attempt to employ here-twin graphemes in orality will warrant the most severest penalties yonder the law. Is this what Mr. Nollop would want? On this we are not certain. However, you may write to one another in this manner, until we rule otherwise. Sincerely, Hamilton Ferguson. Nollopton, Tuesday, November 7. Ella, yesters we opened this portal to a new Mr. M, who was employed with the Pentapriest. He was let go, fired. Lost his apartment in governmental complex. He has tales to tell, Ella. There are loonies, paranoia set to him, intoxi-tipsy on raw interpret power. 2 of the 5 seem to worry little what Nollop's wishes are, so entirely at ease they are with the power Nollop supposedly grant them. 2 others, though, are the total opposite, Monastian hermits, lashing one another with relish whips when either of them even thinks about a sin letter. It seems that little Amon remains in possession of his sanity. Other news last night, my sister's man was standing beneath the cenotaph when a new tile plunged. The tile with the letter X. It hit him right on his head. The priests are there pronto to get the tile. They see my sister's man lying there, eyes not open. They gather the tile pieces. They stroll away, not even looking at him, totally ignoring a girt man. He meant nothing to them. Later help appears, a woman. She ministers to him, transports him home. He was nothing to them, Ella. Imagine that. Your neighbor and friend Tanya. P.S. I was about to post this letter when I hear 3 more tiles plummet. A T, an R, an H, another T remains in place, another R, and another H as well. Ella may wish to know, though, that except for O, there are no more twins. The remaining letters are all singletons. T, I, wouldn't, O, mps, O, he, lay, g. Office of our Little Nolliton, Wednesday, November 8th. To Miss Ella Minope, I regret to tell you most grievous news. Mannheim is mort. I know that you knew him, were friends with him, that you and he and his assistant Tom were working still on the Enterprise 32 challenge. How it happened is not easy to tell. He used an illegal letter, an interview after police see him and Tom going through window into University Hall, trespassing. He used the letter, then when the police go to tie his hands to transport him to Pier 7, he and Tom try to plead to teleportation, will not help him. The police shoot him. They shoot him in the head. He is immediately dead. I am again sorry to tell you this. I must say, tween we two, that I had high hopes for his success. Yours truly, our Little. P.S. As for Tom, I am not sure what has happened to him. He fled and is perhaps in hiding. Nolliton, Wednesday, November 8. To Mr. Little, thanks for telling me of what happened to Mr. Mannheim. You are right. We are indeed working together. A friendship was growing among we three as well. It is hard for me to even write. I am so staggered from this news. He was a good man who cherished this island with all his heart. I will miss him. Norton, Wednesday, November 8. To Mr. Little, thanks for telling me of what happened to Mr. Mannheim. You are right. We were indeed working together. A friendship was growing among we three as well. It is hard for me to even write. I am so staggered from this news. He was a good man who cherished its island with all his heart. I will miss him. I will miss as well his devotion to Enterprise 32. I am not certain I possess the strength to persevere without him. You were successful in getting the whatever you're naming yourselves now to pass Statute 2863. Why not turn all your energy to other turning all the Hanas Lipogrammata statutes, restoring this island its dignity? I have not heard from Tom. I am worried about his safety. Sincerely, Ella. Office of Little Knowlton, Thursday, November 9. To Ella Minnow P. You are soliciting the impossible, Miss P. Surely you know that now. I suggest you get to Rorg. Mannheim would want it this way. Insistently. I will let you know if young Tom appears. Sincerely, our Little Knowlton, Thursday, November 9. To Ella Minnow P. I have Paula Mannheim with me, orphaned, you know, after what happened to her father, Professor Mannheim. She is with me temporarily. However, she may not stay past tomorrow. She has no other relatives to go to, not here or in the States. I have too many other foster youths to tend to, so I am sending her to you. Sincerely, Marigold, Shropshire. Slip beneath Ella's front door, early Friday morning. Ella, I am Alf and well. Please don't worry about me. I have made this one furtive midnight foray to leave this note. As much as I wish to see you and until this nightmare is over, I may not again emerge from my fugitive's hiding place. Enterprise 32 is all yours now. God grant you the strength to see it to its finish. Your friend Tom. Knowlton, Friday, November 10. Tanya, I was sent letter from a Marigold, Shropshire. I am now foster mother for Mannheim's girl Paula. Apparently there are no other relatives for her to go to. It is a strange world we reside in, is it not? I am made a foster mother at 18. I will try to give her a good home. Poor little ragamuffin. How is Georgianne? I have not seen or heard from her for a while. I am a little worried. Ella. Knowlton, Friday, November 10. Ella, Tanya told me you were asking after me. I am fine. Lately I have started painting my torso in pretty motley hues. I sit in front of the mirror in the sleepy room. I admire my handiwork. I am a human abstract painting. This morning I got some old remnant paint from the hardware warehouse. Now I am enough to paint all over my whole self. Your friend Georgianne. Knowlton, Saturday, November 11. To Georgianne, it isn't wise for a person to paint her whole self. Think about this first. You will see that it is not healthy. Also, please answer your portal when I rap. Ella. Knowlton, Sunday, November 12. Ella, I look for you all afternoon. You are, I think, at Miss Shropshire's home getting little Paula's things together. I took Georgianne to the hospital. There is only one physician still working there, thank God. Georgianne is very ill with lead poisoning. There is a possibility she may not last the night. Look for me at the hospital tonight when you see this note. Also, you hear that why bell? No, why tomorrow? At least no one was here this time. Truly yours, Tanya. Tomorrow, Tanya. T I un o ms or he la g. Knowlton, Monte, November 13. To Mr. Little. Little is permissible now, no? Let me, if you prefer, some other name in his stead. My friend Georgianne perished last night from lead poisoning. I think also she was not right in the head. I must write her family. My other friend Tanya tells me this morning that she, along with her family, are leaving Nollop to the States. She'll transport Georgianne's remains to the Towgate family. Tanya also wants Paula, Mannheim's little girl. She feels Nollop is wasteland now. No place for a little girl. No place for anyone, for that matter. I will not stop her. It is good to get her away from here. I hardly got no little Paula. We might have made good parents. I feel as Georgianne must have when everyone left the village, alone, forsaken. Are you leaving too, Mr. Little? Will Mr. Little soon wipe his hands of all this tragimus, turn on his heel, disappear? Ella. Office of R. Little, Knowlton, Monte, November 13. Ella, you may refer to me as Little. I am referring to myself that way now. To answer the interrogatory, I have no plans to leave this isle, especially since I have good reason to remain. You see, I am working on Enterprise 32 myself, as I hope are you. In these 3 sun-to-suns that remain, this last lap, as it were, I thought you might appreciate the help. Sincerely, R. Little. Nollop to Nollop, Monte, November 13. To the Towgate family, please accept my heartfelt sympathy at this time. Georgianne passed away last from lead poisoning. She painted her whole self from her toe with many pretty ornamental hues. She was so resplendent, almost radiant in repose, the happy, appealing pigments, an aesthete reminder of her lovely, warm spirit. She should look smashing for the funeral. Her remains should arrive shortly. With all regrets, Ella Minnow P. Knowlton, Tuesday, November 14. Ella, farewell, farewell. Though we are not friends for long, I will so miss you. You are strong. It is good that you are left. We wish you well with Enterprise 32. We wish you well with everything you try to achieve these trying final days to achieve for all we patriot Nolopians, to Nolopian diaspora. Affectionately, Tanya and family. P.S. H has fallen. Hee hee ho ho. How totally irrelevant to me life now. T I wun o imps or la j. Nollop ten Nollop. Wednesday, no Ginger 15. To Mr. Warren, Nolopiana, Georgia, America. Mr. Warren, please get word to me Mama, to me Pop, and to Mitty and Tassie that I am well. I am a persister and ut laster. No more trepidation for me. Only determination to into task I started. The odds are not good. The reason I am not good. Mannheim was superior to me. And Assistant Tom. No Mannheim is dead, and Tom is I know not where. All I am is present, positioning, stringing letters together, 26 into 32, until the time runs out, until all stops, until silence, until Nollop is no more. Although I know that Nollop is not truly going away. The reason I am not going away. I will learn to talk in numerals. I will learn sign language. Anything to stay in Nollop. I, Mr. Little, and the sparse people still strolling Nollop Senti, salty air seaside, gazing at sunrises too glorious to place into words. We will possess these things always, Nollop too also in our memories, deep within our souls. I miss you all deeply. I am sorry to admit, Mamma, that I am presently a snoop. I read letters, dear sweet letters you wrote to Pop, warm, engaging letters Pop wrote to you, some old, some new, some all you guessed no one would see. You put them away so well, I read them, you see, to gain needed inspiration. These letters are also my solace, my emollient, and I thank you for them. Essentially, you are probably reading my last letter to you. It is now simply too tiring to write, to say what I must say in language one must understand. I am so sorry. Always, Ella. West Day, November 15, Nolopians. G tonight at midnight. No more G. So long, G. Pentapris. T-I-W-O-M-S or la. Letter to me. Only 24 hours remain. Storm. Tiles plop. 8 tiles plump plump all in one night. Ting int is near. Solon A, Solon E. Nice to know you. Solon I, Solon R. Are you lonesome tonight? Solon S, Solon T. Solon W, Solon O twin. Remnant twin is all alone now. Now only 5 remain at 12 time. Only 5 remain. Where it's at, paint. Sincerely, Ella. N-O-M-P-L. Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. And that's A. Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. 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 Packs my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. Pack 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 my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. The Minnow P. Residence, Knowlton, Thursday, November 16. Dear Mr. Rhetoric Little, here is the sentence you require delivered prior to the deadline imposed by the High Council. Indeed, with 3 whole hours to spare, pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs. Please note that this sentence is exactly 32 letters in length. It contains the requisite appearances of each of the 26 letters of the English alphabet. The sentence contains further no contractions or arguable proper names. It is incidentally neither declarative nor interrogative, but in fact it is in the imperative mood. It is a command, Mr. Little, an appropriate response to 15 weeks of High Council orders, mandates, and edictal behests. I must inform you that I did not come up with the sentence myself. The credit should actually go to my father, Amos Minnow P., if indeed credit is due. I maintain that because the sentence was created unintentionally in the course of a quickly penned farewell letter to my mother and me, Pop should not own responsibility, nor should anyone, or perhaps all of us. And this is why I venture to tell you the truth of its genesis, risking, of course, a strict interpretation of your challenge. I venture so for this reason, Mr. Little. Any one of us could have come up with such a sentence. We are, when it comes right down to it, all of us, mere monkeys at typewriters, like Nollop. Nollop, low-order primate, elevated to high-order ecclesiastical primate, elevated still further in the darkest last days to ultimate prime A-grade superior being, for doing that which my father did without thinking about it. Truly yours, LMNOP. From the office of High Councilman Rederick Little, Thursday, November 16, day 1 of the new order. Dear Miss Minnow, on behalf of the High Council, I accept your sentence. All relevant statutes have been rescinded. Please join me at your earliest convenience for tea in my office. I trust that your friend Tom, after having been successfully pushed out, will accompany you. Fondly, Rederick Little. Nollopton, Nollop, Friday, November 17, day 2 of the new order. Dear Mom, Pop, Mitty, and dear Cousin Tassie, it is over. You may all come home. Mr. Little, on behalf of the High Council, has accepted my sentence, the 32-letter sentence which I preferred 3 hours prior to deadline. The council members assembled to read it, assembled in one great big eyed clump to read it aloud over and over, then proceeded to examine it most carefully, counting each letter, identifying and pronouncing each grapheme in a proper alphabetical sequence, and finally proclaiming the sentence an undeniable miracle. It is not a miracle, it is an accident, pure happenstance. Perhaps just as happenstantial in its creation was the fox-dog sentence. I have strong reason to believe this. Let me tell you why. This morning Mr. Little took Tom, my new friend. I cannot wait for you to meet him. The intense blue of his eyes gives me occasional shudders, and me down into the vault beneath the National Library. Held in climate-controlled perpetuity are several hundred linear feet of governmental records and historical documents, including the original Island Compact, which we have all gazed upon in its infrequent public displays, along with a sizable collection of Mr. Nevin Nollop's personal papers and most private effects. I asked Mr. Little why all of this was spared in the wake of the anti-alphabetical edicts, which had rendered to dust and ash virtually everything else found in print upon this island. It seems that efforts were indeed underway to find masons to seal off the vault, entombing it behind a solid brick wall, burying its unintended time capsule, these immurement destined remnants of a time when discourse came without stricture, without posthumous Nolopian challenges come curses. Along those papers, Tom and I discovered a book, an amply illustrated children's storybook with Nollop's name scrawled in childlike letters upon the title page. The book told the tale of a dog who does not wish to participate in a fox hunt, a lazy dog who would go so far as to permit a fleet fox to leap directly overhead rather than lift a single paw to pursue him. In his juvenile hand, Nollop had kid-crabbed the following: "Oh, you lazy dog! The brown fox is so quick and you are so lazy. Bad dog, bad dog." Of course, there are those who believe that Nollop was too stupid to concoct the national sentence from even these obvious elements. It could very well be that someone else wrote it and he took full credit. I would not put it past him. All the council members, save Little, have tendered their resignations. Immediately thereafter, Harton Mangrove attempted suicide with his necktie. It was a clumsy attempt and quickly foiled. Following our excursion to the vault, Little, Tom, and I proceeded to the cenotaph, climbed to the top, and with sledgehammers in hand, initiated in earnest an act of destructive revisionism. Others among the few of us still left on the island jubilantly joined in. There followed a celebratory bonfire and weenie roast. We exercised our newly liberated vocabularies until dawn. As we were all gathering for breakfast, courtesy of an early morning raid on the amply stocked Willingham family larder, we learned that Harton Mangrove had again tried to take his own life, this time by repeatedly whacking himself in the head with a heavy wooden rolling pin. He was left stunned on his kitchen floor by his wife and 3 young sons, who were left late for their 7 a.m. sleek-off for Florida, where they would be soon taking up permanent residency. Reports are in conflict as to what Mangrove mumbled as he lay dazed upon the floor, painfully clutching his lumpy head. One witness attested to the following: "I am floundering upon the shoals of despair, forsaken by the great and powerful Nollop." Another heard simply, "Somebody get me a headache powder. I think I juggled my brains." There were some among the survivors who wanted to erect a monument to me. Others thought Pop, as the actual creator of the sentence that was to serve as a vehicle for our emancipation, deserving of all national approbation. I suggested that neither of us was an appropriate candidate given the fortuity of the sentence's conception, but this fact does not preclude the erection of some other concrete memorial to those who lost life, property, strips of dorsal epidermis, and or sanity to the tyranny of the last 4 months. I suggested further that the following might be sculpted: a large box filled with 60 moonshine jugs, piled high, toppling over, corks popping, liquor flowing, disordered to match the clutter and chaos of our marvelous language, words upon words piled high, toppling over, thoughts popping, correspondence and conversation overflowing, and upon the Baniford, beneath the sculpture, writ not on tiles but chiseled deeply into the marble facade, the following sentence, 19 letters in length, containing a mere 10 different graphemes of English alphabet, dead dogs tell no tales. And by deliberately keeping the word tales frustratingly mishomonymized, we offer this guarantee that our descendants will never have reason to exalt the sentence beyond simple sentience. Finis. I miss you all and cannot wait to see you again. Love, Ella Minnow P. Nollop to Nollop. Monday, November 20. Dear Doug, it is after the fact, obviously, but we're all still curious to know what you and your fellow cybergeeks might have been able to come up with. Care to give it a shot? By way of reminder, your mission, should you choose to accept it, shortest possible sentence containing all 26 letters of the alphabet, words in English, and in current usage, please. I'll accept proper names in a pinch if they don't seem Martian. Best wishes, Nate the Scribbler Warren. South Carolina State University, Orangeburg, South Carolina, USA, Wednesday, November 22. Dear Nate, we have come up with 4 sentences for your reading pleasure, each equal to or less than 32 letters in length, allowing for, thank you, sir, the use of proper names. The computer succeeded in creating a sentence exactly 26 letters in length. That is, I say it, without repetition of a single letter. It follows, J.Q. Vans struck my big fox whelp. The others we are pleased to list below. Quick zephyrs blow, vexing daft Jim, 29. Few quips galvanize the mock jury box, 32. Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs, 32. I hope this has been of some help to you. What, by the way, was the sentence that brought the High Council to its senses, or shall we say to its knees? We're all quite curious to know. Sincerely, Doug Cyberhead Watts. The end. Thank you for listening to Ella Minnow P. by Mark Dunn. I think this book is absolutely brilliant. It's better if you read it to yourself, but I did my best reading it aloud to you. This is actually the second time I've read it aloud to YouTube. But of course, the first time I read it aloud, I wasn't able to save it before having to deal with the hacking and deleting of my account. So this is the second time I've read it aloud to you. I hope you enjoyed it. It's at times scary and other times very funny. It's just a fantastic and very just imaginative and just so intelligently written book. I can't even imagine how much work went into creating that kind of challenge and writing with the increasingly small selection of letters left to use to write those letters in the story. It's fantastic. Let me know what your thoughts were or any favorite moments you might have had of the book.